in the UK. Mani, the floor is yours, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Jordi, and it's a real pleasure to be here at the Alumni Conference. It's always fun to be participating, but also to support in any way I can. So thank you for the opportunity. Apologies, my talk was a bit late, but yeah, we can move fast now. Thank you. I'll be sharing my screen, so if people can confirm whether they can see just the cover slide. If Jordi, you can confirm you see this.
Absolutely. It's very
great.
good.
So yeah, the topic of the talk is really just highlighting the space industry trends that are happening. Just before I do that, a quick introduction. So I'm Mani Shah, head of analytics at Bryce Tech, as Jordi mentioned. So some of you might not be aware of who or what Bryce Space and Technology is. Bryce Space and Technology, also known as Bryce Tech, is an objective evidence-based analytics firm supporting clients all over the global space economy, everything from governments through to including space agencies, through to commercial organizations, investors. We do a lot of activities around due diligence, strategy, competitive intelligence, forecasting, and program execution. We have offices in London, the DC area, and Chicago, and we're a very international kind of firm in that respect, focused highly on the space industry, but we also work in adjacent sectors such as cybersecurity, quantum, etc. And you can find our reports on our website. Just if you want to take a look, we don't put them behind a paywall or anything. They're free to view. So some of the data that I'll be presenting is also visible in some of these reports. So with that, I'll jump into what we're talking about. So this slide is really good because it kind of highlights the space ecosystem in terms of the satellite value chain, but also the in-space activities. And the satellite value chain is where the bulk of the non-government demand really is. So that includes television, broadcasting, the internet, kind of satellite communications. And that's worth over $100 billion. I'll go into the detail on that in a moment. But this is made up of communications, remote sensing, national security, GPS, and the whole kind of value chain of supporting the satellite ecosystem. And there's some optimism. Some of the new communication satellites as well on this side. It was really interesting and engaging conversation with Jonathan on Friday evening my time. And hopefully some of you were able to attend that. If not, I'm sure there's a video available. And on the right side, you've got the in-space activities, the exploration platforms, tourism, on-orbit R&D, OSAM. So OSAM is on-orbit servicing, assembly, and manufacturing. Then you've got education and entertainment as well. So this is kind of the more emerging segment of the space ecosystem where there's been modest non-government demand, not very commercial in terms of the demand that we're seeing there. It's driven by significant government subsidies for use of the ISS. So that's a big part of that. And only a few tourists have gone up to date. And as we see some of these suborbital opportunities increase, that will obviously grow. There's an ongoing search for viable products to manufacture, things like fiber optic cables and pharmaceuticals and other manufacturing of products in space as well. So again, emerging market on the in-space activity. And what ties all of that together is the launch market, because that really is an enabler for the ecosystem. Without launch, you can't really do any of those things. So, and then, the satellite value chain, that's kind of, it consists of everything that enable Earth orbiting satellites and the satellite substitutes persistent platforms. So that those can be, balloons in space and balloons in the upper atmosphere, and the services they deliver, including manufacturing operations and future activities such as on-orbit satellite assembly, servicing, and repositioning. So kind of going into drilling down into the global space economy a bit, we see that it's a $371 billion economy. about 3/4 of that is the satellite industry, so 271 billion. And the rest of that space economy is made up of government space budgets, and it includes things like commercial human spaceflight as well. On the satellite services side, you've got what I mentioned, telecoms, and that's about 117 billion, the overall satellite services, including telecoms, remote sensing, space science, and some of the national security aspects. What's interesting in this chart is obviously the launch industry is only $5 billion, but it's again a key enabler for the ecosystem. And similarly, you can see satellite manufacturing. So those upstream markets are small in a grand scheme of things, but they are key to that wider ecosystem. And again, ground equipment are a big part of the global space economy as well. So what do you see here is kind of the upward trend and trajectory over the last almost 10 years or so of the global space satellite industry specifically. That's that 3/4 of the overall space economy, growing from about 170 billion to 270 billion in the last 10 years. So about $100 billion increase in that time frame. And there's been obviously some constraints on the growth with decline in satellite services driven by COVID-19 impact. And we've seen some balance of that, of increase in some aspects and decrease in others. But an overarching trend that has continued is obviously the changes in TV viewership. So, you know, less demand on the satellite TV broadcasting. So in terms of the kind of the changing industry dynamics, you see that this chart kind of nicely summarizes that across the different domains. So from satellite manufacturing, you're having more capable, low cost geosats through to improved capability, innovative applications of small sats, and the expanded activities of geo life extension. So Northrop Grumman's spatial logistics, which is extending the life of the Intelsat satellites and others that they have planned. On the launch side, you're having more affordable launches, increased launch activity, and by more affordable, launch costs have come down. I believe it was by 1/3 from another slide we have. I forgot to include that one, but it's really interesting how there's also increased kind of the choice of launch, right? You're seeing on the heavier launch vehicles, but also the smaller, to give you that targeted delivery of the satellites. So the way I like to think about it, the big launch and the small launch is the big launch is kind of like taking a bus, and the small launch is taking a taxi. So a taxi will get you specifically to where you want to go. A bus will kind of get you into the right kind of area. So there's other areas as well, innovative kind of post-launch deployment services that are particularly on the heavy launch side. So providing ability to get to the right orbits that they need to get to. So it's like getting a bus and then having, I don't know, a bike or something, a taxi on a bus to get you to the destination. It's an interesting concept. And then on the satellite services, there's been increase in telecom capacity. I'm not going to read all of them. There's a lot of aspects of this. I'll let you kind of read through as well if you'd like. But that all shows all of the kind of trends in the different segments of the space economy, and that leads to the end users. So you're getting increasing productivity, new capabilities, economic growth, safety, security, and sustainability, you know, coming into the end users side. So there's been a lot of kind of attention on the billionaires and buzz in terms of the private investment that's going in. And that's really shaped the market over the last 5 to 10 years. You've had a lot of private investment come in, and it's been driven by the lowering of costs of access to space. And part of that is also visible in the trend of the satellite platforms as well. You're seeing everything kind of has gone into the smallest platforms like the Planet on the left. You'll see that the CubeSat platform, but we're also kind of seeing a move back towards a bit more of the 200-300 kilogram satellites with Starlink and OneWeb, all in that kind of size spacecraft mass. But you'll see behind in the background, that's also a satellite shown there for comparison. You can really see the scale of the difference of some of these platforms and how they've trended to different ways. So you have the CubeSats, and then it's been balanced out more recently with the Starlinks and OneWebs. So I touched on the kind of the private investment that's flowing in. It's really interesting. You don't really see many charts where it's a sudden jump and then it kind of sustained level of growth in the private investment. We've been reporting on the private space, startup space investment trends for since 2014-15. We published an annual report on that, free to view. But it's really been insightful to see how much attention has grown on in terms of the investor side and the interest they have in the space ecosystem. A lot of that, some might say, has been driven by SpaceX and their success on launch and reusability and helping to drive down the costs, and that has attracted businesses to be able to demonstrate their capabilities without having to have exorbitant launch costs, which can be problematic. If you launch once and then it fails, then that might kill your business, right? So it's interesting dynamics of these the private investment that's occurred and the growth in that. And you'll see in this chart a big bulk of the investment has been accountable by four of these companies: OneWeb, Blue Origin, SpaceX, and Virgin. And that trend you've still also had earlier stage companies raise funding, but it's kind of interesting to see where a bulk of the investment has gone into. And over half of all venture investment in the last 5 years has gone to SpaceX and OneWeb. And so we've also seen a surge of SPAC activity in the space industry. These are the kind of recently announced space industry SPAC deals. Their combined enterprise value is over 23 billion. And we see that close to 5 billion has been raised just through these SPAC deals alone, which augments the overall amount raised in the last year. I believe the latest figures we have on 2020 data is more than 7 billion was raised. So if we go back, we can see about over 5 billion was raised in 2019, and then over 7 billion in 2020. So I'm conscious of time. I'm going to speed through these. These are the kind of showing you the number of spacecraft launching over the last, since the first launch. The bottom teal chart will show that. And you see that dramatic rise with primarily thanks to Starlink launches. And we published a quarterly briefing on this, including the upmass that's being launched. And that's an interesting value to be kind of looking at, is how much actual mass is being launched into space. Because you can have many of the small ones, but how much of a difference is that making in terms of the orbital environment, in terms of the mass being launched as well. And then this is a nice chart because it kind of highlights the orbital and suborbital launch sites of the world, including some of the proposed and under development ones. You've got the 7 that have been announced for the UK, for example, and other sites around the world. So yeah, this is also on our website, so feel free to take a look at it in detail if you'd like. And then on the in-space activities, there's exploration, OSAM, tourism, platforms, on-orbit R&D, education, and entertainment. And this is another chart which is quite cool in that it shows you the human space flight statistics. This is, of course, as of the 1st of January of this year. So some of, obviously it's not up to date with the more recent space flights. But it kind of shows you how many have gone, how many humans have been to space on different spacecraft, different launch vehicles, and how many occupants were on those launches, and that kind of information. So yeah, quite a fun one to look at. And then on the projected exploration missions side, we know, based on what's been publicly announced, and the visibility that the moon has had, there's over 95 missions, over 90 missions or 95 missions to the moon, and some of those are commercial as well, commercial missions, for example, by iSpace. And that's probably closer to 100. This is as of August 31st. So that number of missions to the moon is probably gone up by now. And these are planned missions through to 2030. So the trend towards the moon is quite clear from this chart. Clearly, though, more are going to Leo than to the moon, but that's understandable. China and the Chinese space station and the ISS missions are all kind of highlighted here, and then 11 missions to Mars. So there's clearly some emerging nations playing an interest in Mars missions. So UAE's Hope mission, and India has also sent a couple of missions. At least one, if I recall, and yeah, ESA as well. So the usual players sending Mars missions too. And this is a kind of a general, broader forecast, market forecast. It's not looking at it quantitatively. It's just more of a qualitative. Here's what the robotic missions are, and human presence, and how that's developing over this coming decade. So you've got surface missions through to 2024, where there's robotic missions that prepare for humans, and that's, this is on the government side. And then from 2024, with the stated goal by the US, by NASA, is to have human presence. That timeline might be strained a bit with the delays, but we shall see what any updated timeline they might have. And then there's a plan of, from 2028 onwards to have semi-permanent human presence, and then multiple international rovers and landers. And then on the cislunar side, you've got kind of in the orbital side, the gateway being assembled, and the 4 modules, including Canadarm, to be added. You've got a number of missions on the commercial side from that are supported with some government funding, but also billionaire investors who are supporting some government missions. One is also a flyby of the moon by a billionaire, Japanese billionaire, and that's the planned tourist mission. Okay, and then there's some of the impact for OSAM around what opportunities are coming about for government missions. Okay, and this is a final chart around the future low Earth orbit commercial markets, kind of how they're trending. So the further right you are on this chart, and the further lower you are, the probability of market success is. So probability of market success is low, and so, for example, non-terrestrial resources is quite a challenging market to have as a success in the near term. And you need, there is a substantial need for the commercial market to be developed there. And then kind of on the nearer term side, you've got things like US government astronauts, those, government funded, and on the non-US government astronaut side, there's clear demand. We see that with launches occurring, with private astronauts going up, to the ISS or to LEO. Other activities around satellite deployment and remote sensing, also part of that kind of ecosystem. So this kind of final slide, just to kind of highlight what the future LEO markets are. based on today's trends. And it's always interesting to see how that will evolve over the next 5 years or so. So with that is all I had. I think I ran over there, but I'm sure you will recognize some interesting information and maybe too much information to take on, but I'm happy to try to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mani, for this excellent presentation. You covered a broad scope of topics and showed us that the space economy it's booming. There are many opportunities there, and we have to pay attention to the new trends.
Mm-hmm.
With this, I don't want to be too long, but we open the questions to the public, if there are any. So please, you can show the questions.
Yeah, that's a good question. That we've seen some impacts on at the start with on the manufacturing side. When people had to have lockdowns and weren't able to travel to the offices, to the manufacturing sites, etc. This was an issue at the start. I think it's subsided in recent times. On the services side, again on the launch as well. Actually, I should mention on the launch side there were some delays depending on where the issue was. So I believe in India there were some impacts on launch. In the US less so, because launch was part of the kind of critical national infrastructure where that was able to go. In situations where there was international travel involved for the launch activities, so for example to French Guiana, there was some impacts on that. And then on the services side, there's been some impacts on the aviation market because of obviously no travel and the satellite broadband on aviation for the aviation markets took a dent, obviously, although this was somewhat offset by increased government demand for satellite broadband and also for things like telehealth and then on the maritime side, there was an uptick given the increased kind of trade and activities to transport goods and services. So yeah, those are kind of the high level specific impacts that I can comment on right away. Okay, so what do I think about Project Kuiper? It's a very interesting one, given Amazon is backing the project and they have substantial capital to make that work, and they're progressing as far as I can tell in the background, not as visible, some might say, as Starlink, but my understanding is they're progressing along. And they clearly have an internal customer that could be a significant part of the demand for Kuiper, but I think we'll have to see how that evolves. On the Chinese constellations, I know recently I think they consolidate some of the projects, but I'm not too familiar with the latest activities on that. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We're seeing companies that are providing ground segment as a service as a way to lower barriers, because it's each company isn't having to build the infrastructure from scratch. They can just purchase what they need from some providers that do this. Is it a successful model? It appears to be a model that is gaining traction, and it kind of clearly is lowering the barriers for companies in terms of not having to, as I said, to build up the infrastructure, which takes time, and to invest in that, Whereas if you can just pay for existing infrastructure, granted there might be a somewhat premium on that, but it's, you know, it's an opportunity. It's a question of opportunity cost at the end of the day. And we'll have to see how that model evolves, and whether, you know, given the number of players, whether there might be some consolidation, but we shall see how that evolves. It's like whack-a-mole, they keep appearing back.
Okay, thank you very much. So does anyone from the audience have any other questions? You can put it on Poliv or maybe raise your hand. No, okay, well. So if there are no further questions, Mani, we'd like to thank you very much for giving your precious time this Sunday. And we are really willing to welcome you back maybe next year for the next event, the ones that organize it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jordi, and it's been a real pleasure. I really enjoyed this. Yeah, and good luck with the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much. Stay with us, and yeah, thank you also for all the others that are attending. The next panel, it's a very good panel, because what you want to need here in the conference, and this is linked to the Alumni Weekend, was to give an opportunity to the SSP of this year to share a little bit with us their experiences, what they are doing, how they are feeling it, the content of their projects, and also share with us a bit of fun, what do they have. So what we try to organize is to directly connect with some of the students of this year that they are, as you know, in Granada, Strasbourg, and also online. Kindly to two representatives by ITP to make some short presentation, and then Q&A sessions that we can have a feeling of what they're experiencing there. So for this, we have Abraham. Abraham, are you with us?
Yeah, sure, I'm with you. I'm sure.
Okay, thank you so much. So Abraham, the floor is yours, and I'd like you to introduce the TPs. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. It's good to be here again. Let me just change this. Then we can do this. All right, thank you. It's good to be back at ISU, even if it is online. And I would just like to say thank you, Jordi, for setting this up, and to everybody that has been working so hard so far for making this successful so far. I know a lot of work has been done into this. And though, you know, this year is a bit in a different mode, different dynamic, but I want to believe everybody has been having fun, and it's been fun for those that have been, you know, everywhere. Either you've been in Strasbourg or Grenada, or you've been enjoying yourself online. I want to believe you've been having fun, you've been enjoying yourself. In that light, I would just like to take a roll call on the team that are online from Grenada. I would like an introduction from Grenada. And if we have anybody from Strasbourg, definitely also from Strasbourg, and then the people we have online. So let me go first from the representation from Grenada. So please just introduce yourself. For now, introduce yourself. Let me know your name, your TP, and then we'll go to the next person from there.
Abraham, can you introduce yourself too? Sorry, I didn't do it. You also have a cool position, and you're a very cool guy, so you deserve so.
Okay, all right. So my name is Ibrahim Ali. I'm a Nigerian. I grew up in Nigeria. I work in the space industry in under different umbrellas. But right now, under this capacity, I'll introduce myself as the HR coordinator for the Space Generation Advisory Council. I'm also the recruitment lead for the Space Generation Advisory Council. So a lot of the positions I see your applications and help review the applications and make sure you get the best review, a just review, and everybody has a chance, because that's the economy we're supposed to have. That's the environment we're supposed to create, just like we have it at ISU. So that's a brief introduction of myself. I'm sure we can do a lot of more introduction later, but without wasting any time, let's get right into it. Thank you, Jody. So Mikhail, I see you're up there. Let's start with you.
Well, hi, everyone. Great to be here. My name is Michal Ziso. I'm coming to you from Tel Aviv, Israel. I am an architect specializing in skyscrapers and large-scale projects, and also a space architect, researching and designing environments for humans outside of Earth. And I'm part of the online team. And with me is Garima. So she may be wanting to introduce herself as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Mikhail. I guess you'll be going first by the time I start. Carol, all right, let's go.
Oh, are we going?
Yep.
By the way, I'm gonna say I like your ISU shirt though. It looks really nice. I like it.
Hi guys, so I'm Perrin, here's Carol. We're from sunny, beautiful Granada here, and we're for the team project for advanced agriculture and nutrition for permanent space settlements. Nice to meet you guys, and hopefully we've got an incredible presentation for you later on.
So from Grenada, right? What's the TP again?
Go ahead. Agriculture and nutrition for permanent settlements.
All right, thank you so much. So TP Agriculture. Thank you, Carol. I was saying I like your ISU t-shirt. Looks nice. Yeah. All right, let's go. Aiden, right? Aiden?
Hey, I'm here with Giorgio.
Okay.
We're from the Solutions for Construction of a Lunar Base TP here in Strasbourg. A little bit on me. I'm a aerospace engineer. I'm currently working as mission design engineer at OrbitFab, working on in-space refueling infrastructure. And then Giorgio here.
Hey, I'm Giorgio. I'm from Italy. I'm a master student in pharmaceutical chemistry, and yeah, for now that's all. We are working together with our team on solution for construction of a lunar base, and we are waiting to show you our ideas.
So Aiden and Giorgio from Strasbourg, right?
Yes.
I hope you've been enjoying Strasbourg so far. All right, Antonio.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am here with. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here with Francesco, and we are going to talk about our TP mobility on orbit manipulation, and we are going to introduce you with a short presentation about it. My background is a master's degree in computer engineering, and I'm currently working as an avionics digital design engineer for a new space company in Germany, in Munich. I give you the floor to Francesco.
Hello, everyone. Here is Francesco from Strasbourg. I'm part of the team of the TP Mobility, and I am from Politecnico di Milano, developing my thesis about asteroid dynamics around Dubai, around binary asteroids. And I'm also CEO of a company in Italy that is with urban air mobility, and I'm one of the co-founders of Polyspace, the first space association of Politecnico di Milano. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right.
I just would like to say that with me will be presenting Garima Patel, and she's also here with us. So maybe she wants to also present herself.
All right, Garima, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Garima Patel. I'm from India, and I'm a physiotherapist who specialized in neuroclassical sciences. Thank you so much.
It's okay. All right. I love kids. All right. So Garima and Michelle, right? So Do Afria, did I get that right?
Yes, but I'm not present in Jacqueline and Guillaume.
Okay, all right, Guillaume.
Hi there, I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Guillaume, nice to meet you.
We'll be presenting on behalf of the TP Golden Record team.
Okay, Golden Record. Golden Record. Are you in Strasbourg or online?
We are in Granada.
Grenada, all right. All right, thank you. Do I have any other team here? Okay, did I get everybody? All right, thank you. So now I have 5 teams that will be presenting. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give everybody 6 minutes plus 1. So after 6 minutes, 1 minute, please round up. I'll try as much as possible to be a good timekeeper. So if you see my hand waving, just please, let's try and round up so that we can have a good time to come together and relate and, you know, give room for question time. So if we go 6 minutes plus 1 for everybody, we should be able to cover all the presentation in 35 minutes. And then we will come back. So I'll let everybody present, and then we all come back together, and then we ask questions. I will ask you some questions, and then we'll see if anybody in the public has any questions for you. If that works, then now we start with Mikhail. Mikhail and Garima, your floor is yours. So please let me have the presentation.
Thank you so much. Our wonderful chair, Dr. Lian Chang, wants to say just a few words about the TP.
All right, let's go ahead.
Lian?
Hi, I'm here. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I just popped up, and I want to give some introduction to our, team project. I'm Liang from China and co-chair of the online TP. I'm very happy to give a brief introduction of our team project just before the on behalf of Ian Walter and as another co-chair and TA Shura before the participants' presentation. The team project is called the TP suborbital. And, it is to investigate the challenge, different options, and opportunities that suborbital transportation bring to humanity. I think it's a really, really great time for us to do this TP, as there are 2 major events directly connected to the topic just happened during the TP period. We know it is a manned suborbital flight by Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin. The suborbital team has done a great job in such a short time, and will deliver the final presentation next Friday. Now I'm very happy to hand it over to Mika and Arima. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you
so much. I just want to say something just to recognize the work that has been done so far. Liang, I know it's been a great work you've done so far, and I really want to appreciate you for that, because I know it's not probably easy having this this connection the way it is. So thank you for all the work you've done so far. Mika, please go ahead.
So I'll be quickly sharing my presentation here. Just let me know if you can see it. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, sure, I can see that.
Okay, so we are the online team. We are Astra Express. Our team consists of 34 amazing individuals from 21 different countries from around the world. And our TP, as Lian said, is the International Suborbital Transportation Liner. So just a few words about what is suborbital and what is the background of it. So the development of fast and efficient transportation systems has changed the world. Historical examples include ocean liners in the 19th century and airliners in the 20th century. And today, the recent launches of the VSS Unity from Virgin Galactic and New Shepard from Blue Origin have demonstrated humankind's strong interest in suborbital flight. Currently, transporting passengers or goods from one side to the other of the planet takes from a few hours to a few days. And it is important in order to excel our future as humanity to see how we can minimize those times. So with this in mind, our team did a thorough analysis of the suborbital liner industry. And here we present a summary of our findings and recommendations. It is our hope that this work will help solve the existing challenges and contribute to the exciting future of suborbital flight. So when we recognize that time is an asset, our mission statement is that we should provide recommendations to guide the safe and sustainable development of accessible suborbital multi-purpose transportation system to achieve both faster and safer global operations and transform the transportation industry. So basically our three core values are safety, sustainability, and accessibility. Just a brief overview of the evolution of the suborbital flight. So in 1944, first uncrewed suborbital mission V2 test rocket launched from Germany. In 1961, the animal experimentation succeeded with Ham as the first space chimpanzee. 1963, NASA X-15 Flight 90 becomes the first winged craft in space. Going towards 2004, Spaceship One Flight 15P becomes the first commercial private space flight. And in 2021, as we all know, the most successful crewed flights showing promise for the future industry. So we will be going basically department by department, showing our research and the challenges that we found and also our recommendations. And the first department that we'll be focusing on is human performance in space, which is HPS. And we thought that, or we recognize that the point-to-point suborbital commercial travel requires demonstration of time savings. Currently, the suborbital flight does not represent time savings due to the longer pre-flight and post-flight procedures. There are a lot of data gaps that we recognize currently, especially because so far the research has been done by a very specific group of people, and our desired diversity of potential commercial passengers is much greater. So if we focus on the pre-flight, in-flight, and post-flight phases of the journey, the pre-flight and post-flight extend the time to not a few minutes. The suborbital flight should take about between 30 to 90 minutes. It kind of extends it to a few days because we have to train, we have to do a lot of medical screenings. So our recommendation is to look at the entire holistic experience and to try to streamline it. And to do that by introducing a suborbital digital passport. So this passport would include information such as training status, medical background, medical liability consent forms, pre-screenings, changes in medical conditions, vaccinations, as we all know are very, very important. Flight history profile that includes the spacecraft flown, the takeoff and landings types, the propulsion data, the average speeds, heights that reached, and also it can provide the passenger's individual carbon footprint. So basically this suborbital passport is not only will be able to lower the times that we will be needing in the pre-flight and post-flight phases, but also will include a lot of the other departments aspects as well. And from now I will give the floor to Garima.
Thank you, Michal, for the exhilarating launch. Now let's continue the journey with me by first addressing what is the applicable law. Unfortunately, currently there are no international rules related to suborbital operations or to the operation of privately owned space stations and vehicles. Although some national regulations related to space vehicle re-entry exist, but they are mainly related to the safety of people on the ground and not to the safety of passengers or crew members aboard the vehicles. So we advocate that a comprehensive legal regime applicable to suborbital flight needs to be established by the states, and until then, suborbital flights should be governed by space law. For the landing phase of such flight, international cooperation, for example, through bilateral agreements, will play an important role to enable the suborbital vehicles to safely enter the country of destination's airspace. Next slide, please. Coming to the communication and navigation, so the challenge was to ensure safety and smooth operation of the suborbital liner by providing highly reliable voice and data communication and navigation services throughout all the flight phases. And we come up with the recommendation that future studies should be done on installation of antennas of satellite base and voice communication system, and then further testing them under high acceleration as well as velocity environment of suborbital flight to demonstrate their reliability. Next is propulsion, heat, and emission. So the final ascent of the suborbital craft, it needs to be achieved with a rocket engine which uses sustainable as well as non-toxic propellant. And currently there is a lack of predictive modeling of negative impact of emission in suborbital space. So there are a couple of recommendations from our engineering and science department. The first one is the final ascent and approach for crossing the Kármán line. We suggest a rocket engine for either the first or the second module. Although commercially available jet engine can work, but it will be only for the first module. And since a jet engine cannot impart enough excess energy to ballistically ascend to 100 kilometers, we suggest adding wings to the vehicle for extra safety. Second is the ballistic point-to-point trajectory from upgraded airports to the spaceports, which is supported by a robust GNC that seems seemingly the most suitable solution to meet the needs of aggressive maneuvering, which is performed in a short time frame. And finally, the team recommends that a non-toxic propellant to limit emissions, as well as precautionary principles and better and more predictive modeling are required to further limit the effects of emission on the atmosphere. Next slide, please. Coming to the inclusivity, inspiration, and outreach. So most of the world is not knowing about the suborbital transportation's benefits and the risks. For example, the recent Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin flight created both a backlash and excitement, inspiring only a small percentage of population. So new space companies are facing marketing as well as positioning challenges in the industry. And we believe that the suborbital companies and global institutions like UN must invest more into education, outreach, and social research to ensure that the suborbital flight is inclusive more and more number of people. The last aspect is investment and financing. So the research, development, and production of suborbital flight requires a large capital investment over a long period of time. While there is both private and venture funding available, the suborbital industry requires more capital to accelerate commercialization so that suborbital flight is accessible to a larger market segment than it is currently. And we suggest that government to reduce the risk of suborbital industry by providing additional funding and making it more attractive to the investors. Additionally, we also believe that an alternative or new finance instrument should be beneficial for adding capital from new investors. And last but not the least, the government could definitely play a key role in expanding the innovation network and the resource channels. So to conclude, we, the team Astra experts, are inspired by a future where seeing the Earth from the space isn't limited to astronauts only, but it is accessible to all. Our history has shown us that when technology and exploration becomes accessible to many, there is an explosion of technology and societal creativity as well as innovation. Personal computers and internet are the best example for this. And just imagine if millions of humans could travel to space and experience the overview effect, what new solutions might we create? What new insights might we could gain about our environment, humanity, and our own future? There might there be an overview effect 2.0. So that is what all from my part, and over to you, Mikhal. Thank you so much.
I think we are out of time, so just to acknowledge all the amazing people that took part of it and our sponsored iSpace, and back to you. Thank you so much. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Oh, I was muted. Thank you so much. That was really, really, really a great presentation. And thanks to everybody that did a great work on that. So I'm going straight to the next thing. Please, let's keep to time, please. Let's keep to time. All right, Carol, over to you next. Where are you, Carol?
Hi guys, we're just going to get the PowerPoint up.
All right.
Right.
Okay, cool. Hi again, everyone. Thanks very much for tuning into our presentation. We're here on behalf of TP Agriculture. We'll be focusing on future Martian habitats. We have a very quick presentation to explain what we're doing and what we've been up to and our future. And I'll hand it over to Carol to start us off. Thank you.
Thank you, Perrin. Just a very quick note. I think, Abraham, you were talking about fun. And I just want to apologize in advance. It's been a busy weekend here in Grenada of cultural nights and space masquerades, so my voice might break a little. But yes, it's really fantastic to be here. We're very, very grateful to be able to share a little bit of what we've done up to now and give you a glimpse into how much we've learned so far over the past 5 weeks. And wow, there's just been so much. So kind of before diving into our project per se, we had some really enthusiastic workshops on like team building, communication skills, and group dynamics. So that was really good to get started off. We then had to fire off our brains and kind of show how resourceful we are. We had some really fun Rube Goldberg competitions, rocket building. I really hope that that brings some good memories to a few of our listeners. That was great way to start. And then, of course, let's not forget the 46 from kind of world leading experts. So we're definitely going to be drawn into those. But amongst all of that, we've had many lectures and visits here in Spain. Very wide array of these. Unfortunately, because of the current context, a lot of these have been virtual, but we're still very grateful for everything we've had. So as I mentioned, to give you a little bit of a glimpse, we had first a lecture from Abbott, and they kind of stressed to us the importance of nutrition and of the impact of nutrition on things such as muscle wasting. They're searching into kind of immobilized patients, for example, but that obviously has applications for us with microgravity and what we've seen in astronauts up to now. Very inspiring lecture from the Green Moon Project, a very cool project. So they're kind of merging together planetary geology, plants biology, aerospace engineering, and using simulated environments in Lanzarote. So yeah, very cool project. We've had many PhD researchers share their projects from the Institute of Sustainable Agriculture here in Spain. So they're part of the Ministry of Science and Innovation. So we've had topics such as irrigation, the importance of water in kind of areas with scarce access to resources. We've seen how to monitor crops, how to get higher yields for your crops, how to get kind of crop selection, how to integrate multi-omics, so that's kind of genetics, proteomics, transcriptomics, all of the omics. We've learned about how plants actually have microbiomes around them, the rhizosphere, and how that's important, how we probably have to think about that as well. Moving on, we had some very fun workshops with the Mechatronics and Robotics Lab at the ICT Research Center here in the University of Granada. And that's that middle slide you can see about drones. And wow, we've learned that drones can do so much for agriculture. And two of our departments actually had some fun and we got to play around with drones. So that was really fun. Last week, we had the whirlwind tour of Madrid. We got to visit CIAL, which is the Institute of Food Science Research. They're developing what's called bioactive foods. So thinking again about countermeasures, for example, in the field of immunity, which is quite relevant against for space travel. And last but not least, we're in a very inspiring environment. I want to give a shout out. We've had very inspiring visits, for example, to Gorafe megalithic park, kind of going back, seeing how humans were thousands of years ago. And whenever we drive out of Madrid, we can see kind of plantations of olive trees going all the way to the horizon. And we can really sense that we're in a region with a very deep agricultural heritage. So moving on, if I can, to deliver on this project, we've got a fantastic team of very passionate professionals. There's 19 of us. We are the true embodiments as well of the 3 I's of ISU. So we come from 14 countries. We speak 12 languages. and we represent a very broad range of disciplines. We've got drone pilots, we've got, we've got lawyers, we've got geophysicists, astrophysicists, astrobiologists, anthropologists, and just so many of us. And of course, this is ISU, lots and lots of engineers. But funny enough, they don't want to work on the engineering section. To deliver, we'll be dividing ourselves into sub-teams. There's 5 of them. First one, human factors. So we'll be looking into how is agriculture going to optimize the performance of our settlers, looking not only at their nutritional requirements, but as well psychological needs. Again, drawing on lectures, we've seen that astronauts really enjoy interacting with plants. It's good for their well-being. Looking at things as well, such as multicultural settlements. You know, how is the food we provide going to be optimized for everyone? So moving it on to Karen.
Thank you very much. So the next one, we've got technology and engineering. Well, some would say it's pretty self-explanatory, but there's a lot more to it. So looking at the design of our habitat, how everything will work, where we'll put it, what materials we'll need, what future technologies we'll need. We can't just use current technologies we have. We need to make new innovative ideas and bring them to the Martian surface. And then how are we going to produce all these things? How are we going to maintain them? And what are the lifetime of these habitats, agricultural systems we're going to be putting on Mars? Then moving on from that, we've got the agriculture and nutrition, agriculture and farming science team. Now this team, they're looking mainly for the food production, the irrigation, the Martian environment, the oxygen requirements for plants and for us, and then the microbiome we've got, and more importantly, the radiation. How much radiation is going to be at, how are we going to mitigate that? Now, some would say this is the most important team, business and finance. How will we afford to make this project? At the end of the day, money doesn't grow on trees. Some people say it does, but I refuse to believe that one, to be honest. And these guys, they're looking at the business model of our thing. Well, how much will it cost? What revenues can we make? How can we recoup some of those costs through marketing and outreach? And I think that's going to be really important when it comes into the future of this. Now, the penultimate team we've got here is ethics, safety, quality assurance, policy, and legal. And these guys, they really get into the details of it. Is it what we're doing legal? Is it ethical? Are we going to be harming the local environment? Can we do this in a sustainable manner? On the other hand, can we do it safely? Ensure the stuff we take to Mars is of high quality, lasts for a long time, and it's safe for astronauts. And then looking at the international cooperation side of it, as we've seen right now with the issues, new space coming out, we need to have a strong, robust international treaties and laws to make sure when we go to Mars, we can do it legally and it's all perfectly safe. Now, the final team that will look into all the teams, as you just saw there, is terrestrial applications. This will be looking at how we can bring the technologies and what we make in the future back to Earth and to improve our society. Now, that'll bring us on to the final slide, the future. This is probably the most important part, I'd say, from us. That's what we'll be working on. So, like you see there, we want to make a permanent Martian settlement. Initially, over 100 inhabitants, growing further and further to become a permanent, sustainable Martian settlement with many people and a strong international collaborative effort. Now, for that, we need to integrate the 7 disciplines of ISU. Firstly, we need to look at human performances to ensure people who live on the settlement good health, a good well-being, the psychological needs are met, especially considering how far they were going to be and the communications delay from Earth. Then on the other side, we've got to look at the engineering side of it, we've got to look at financing it, humanities side of it, and all other disciplines involved. And finally, like I mentioned earlier, terrestrial applications. We know this is not something that's going to happen tomorrow, next year, or even the year after. This is going to take many, many years, decades perhaps, and it will require research, development, and all sorts of new technologies to be created. And in the meantime, if we think, why are we doing this? Well, we could bring all these technologies to Earth to benefit our society and allow us to prosper. Right now, you're all looking through this from a laptop or a phone, and all the technologies there, they've been developed from the Apollo program, from the International Space Station program. And we want to continue that into the future to help not just us, but also developing countries, and to reduce things like poverty, lack of access to water, and so much more. Now, to end off, big thank you very much to our project staff for helping us with this, Anderson, Jorge, Vanessa, and Francois. A huge shout out to everyone here in the room supporting us and making this team project as incredible as it is. And thank you very much for everyone in the audience for coming here, tuning in. I hope you have a really good day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Carol. Thank you so much, Dan. Really appreciate that. Though you were over time, but I had to give you 1 or 2 more minutes extra because I really appreciate the work that has been put into place, getting this ready. So I really must say that. And in terms of stress and fun, Carol, I believe that goes together with the SSP program. No matter what, the stress part of it, the compactness of everything is the fun part of it. So I hope you're having a great time. And I really must say you have a very beautiful team picture. I love it. I like it. So thank you so much for that. I'm going to go straight to the next team. Please keep the time, please. So Aiden Giorgio, next. The floor is yours.
I know.
Okay. You can hear me? Cool. Okay. We are here to represent the TP Lunar. I'm glad that our team chose us to be here today. So I want to say hi to everybody and thanks to be here to listen to us. Also, we are representing 21 people from different countries. And in these 3-4 weeks that we are here in Strasbourg, we have heard different lectures, different presentations from NASA, from ESA, from a lot of people. And thanks also to our professional visits to Luxembourg and to Augsburg, we came across different ideas, and we decided at the end to choose this that you can see here as a mission statement for our solution for construction of a lunar base. We decided that our goal was and is to develop a progressive roadmap for construction of a sustainable, habitable, and permanent lunar base. Obviously addressing regulatory and policy frameworks and other different challenges. Obviously, everything it will be done through interest of all humankind, and we thought that obviously this was going to be an important and essential aspect of our team project. Ethan, the floor is yours.
Cool. So glad to be here today. Wanted to talk about our project aims. So a couple different things. We got a bunch of these different presentations, as Giorgio was talking about, and we wanted to make sure that what we were focusing on didn't repeat previous work and helped fill some of the gaps that we saw amongst all the different presentations. One of those was, how do we develop sustainable interest in maintaining a permanent settlement on the moon? It's expensive, easy to cut after a while as costs start to inflate, stuff starts to get older. So we wanted to create ways that could really ensure that this has a long-term future. In line with that, we wanted to also cover some other gaps and create a roadmap for this overall lunar construction, considering ISRU, power sources, transportation, habitat building. There are a lot of different resources that cover different components of this, but in line with some of the stuff I'm going to talk about next, we wanted to iterate on this roadmap basically. Another one is mitigating regolith dust. Has potential issues on the human physiology, very toxic, as well as damaging different areas of technology, electrostatically sticking to things. I wanted to come up with some better methods to mitigate that, as well as solar and cosmic radiation, figuring out what the limiting factors are on performance, because a lot of times you see stuff like 7 meters being needed on the outside in terms of regolith to actually protect So how much radiation can you be exposed to for X amount of time, and how does that balance out with crew activity inside and outside of the stations for the initial establishment? How can we do it safely? And then highlighting key legal issues, as well as setting a path forward for peaceful maintenance and orderly development of lunar activities, trying to make sure it is for the benefit of all humankind, and that we're being responsible with those resources. So that's the project aims. In terms of our actual approach, we broke it up between initially everyone's backgrounds, human performance in space, technology related to engineering, law, culture, a couple different areas, and then blended those teams into each of these different problem areas so that it was very interdisciplinary, so that we didn't have only a certain set of people solving a certain set of problems. So for that sustainable interest problem, using economics, business, culture, and science to maintain a long-term and sustainable interest. And this is actually going to work with the on-orbit mobility group a little bit to making sure that all of the orbital stuff works out to have this economic background go as well as possible. With the sequencing, making sure we have good habitat construction capabilities that work well with in each of the different steps with the crew performance solutions that we outlined, making sure that all of the limiting factors with human time on the moon is really taken into account, and that we're doing it safely and to the most efficient part of everyone's capability. So as I mentioned before, exploring that severity and protection measures for the crew performance over X periods of time as we develop the lunar base. We can't develop 7 meters of protection all at once, so how do we do it safely along there is going to be one of the key goals, informing a lot of the sequencing stuff as well. And then policy and law, what can we do in what order affects everything here? How do we sustainably do interest? And how do we make sure that this is for the good of everyone, that we're doing a lot of international cooperation work and really setting a precedent for space as a positive place worldwide, making sure that we mitigate a lot of the issues we brought from Earth. But yeah, looking forward to solving a lot of these problems and getting feedback from talented members of industry like yourselves. Moving on to the next slide, wanted to keep it down to the 5 minutes. Here's us on LinkedIn. Feel free to follow and talk to us more about it. Any questions?
Thank you so much for keeping that really brief and precise. I really like that. Thank you so much for the work that has been put into this. I want to thank the rest of the team too. We'll definitely be having questions after the whole presentations are concluded. So thank you for that. I'm going to go to the next thing from here. Thank you, Giorgio and Eden. All right, straight to Antonio and Francesco.
Yes, here we are. 1 second, sharing the screen.
All right, Antonio, Francesco, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are going to introduce you the main aspects of RTP on orbit mobility and manipulation. In particular, we're going to talk about Moonport, which is kindly backed up by Virgin Orbit for the ISU SSP 2021 here in Strasbourg. So the context that back up our project is related to the Artemis Accord, who laid the basis to a collaborative environment which could boost the long-term, which could realize the vision of getting long-term human settlements on the moon and around the moon. To do so, we just need to know how to use the resources that the moon is giving us. This will give an incredible boost to the new space economy that is growing in the next year. And to do so, we just need to bring back and forth from the moon to the Earth the required tools that allow us to do so. But we need to do it in an affordable and a sustainable way. So we can introduce our mission statement that is related to the proposed solution for a cost-effective cislunar transportation that is kind of focused on reusable orbital vehicles. That is the most important part of our RTP, and that will bring boost and it will explain develop the economy around and on the moon for the next years. And the timeline has been pretty tight. We have had the first kickoff meeting at the beginning of the SSP, and we have had the honor to have different very important eminent peoples in the sector to allow us to give more insights in what we are going to do and to lead us the path towards the team project plan. By the way, today is the deadline, and after some R&D, we will reach the final report at the end of the SSP. Let's go. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Antonio. And of course, at the very beginning, as you have seen in the timeline, we focused our effort. You can see on screen, we came out with this structure, which is actually looking at the center of the diagram. You can see the three main blocks: related research, transport system design, and mission integration. So basically, related research, it's everything that actually we have done partly so far. So the state-of-the-art research, some research on the propulsion, and some research on the interdisciplinary environment that the SSP includes. Then we will be moving to this transport system design, so the most technical part, preparing some mission scenarios, making some mission analysis, trade-off studies, and landing on performance and cost analysis. And then we'll be having a mission integration, because our aim is to integrate our solution with the possibly launcher of Virgin Orbit, and of course, a multidisciplinary analysis that also involve an economic and market business scenario. To do so, we have found this suitable structure to carry on the work. So we have two responsibles that are in organizing the activities and set down and ensure the team coordination. Then there are two main teams: implementation and research. For now, focus on implementation. So we have a secretary, a planning team, psychological safety, design, and review. Well, the secretary is straightforward. It takes minutes and organize the team filling system. Psychological safety is to ensure good relationship through the team. Then the design, straightforward, takes care of the beauty of our deliverables. And we have review team that takes care of the format of our. On the right, the research team in three different colors, because here you can see the structure with our components. So we have three teams: the interdisciplinary on the left, the engineering on top, and the management on the bottom. Actually, each of us has its own responsibility. As you can see, we are a very international team composed of 70 people. And yeah, we are trying to develop this reusable system to thrive the cislunar economy. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any question.
Oh, thank you so much, Antonio and Francesco. I really appreciate that. I guess you've really kept this short on the 5 minutes. Really, really good. I love that. We are definitely coming back with questions, so stay tuned. I'm going straight to the next team, Guillaume and Jacqueline. Please go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you so much for having us. All right.
Hi there, are you able to hear us?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So hello, everyone. As I mentioned in the beginning, my name is Jacqueline Good. I'm currently living in Granada, Spain, though from Canada originally. I'm sitting here with Guillaume, who's from France, and we'll be walking you through our development so far within the TP Golden Record, as well as what we're working through now. We're going to go ahead and share our screen. Fantastic.
A few seconds, and we go.
Perfect. So the Golden Record 2.0 is all about a mission to eternity. Our mission statement right now is that the Golden Record 2.0 aims to capture our human spirit, inspire through further exploration, and propel our message into the cosmos. As this is a rather unique project, we're going through and focusing on some very unique questions. Some fundamental questions that we're working through right now is thinking about who we are intending to inspire with this message. What is the purpose of it? What will we propel? So what physical form will this take as we're propelling it through the cosmos? When would be optimal? Within the first Golden Record that was sent out, it was optimal because all of the planets were aligning in a very specific way, which enabled a very promising moment to send a message like this into space. So we're looking for when would be that optimal moment. And where will it be sent? What is our target that we're looking to approach, and how will we be reaching that target? As well, why is it necessary? Why is it necessary that we send this kind of message out into the cosmos? What are we trying to accomplish with this message? How will it be captured? And as well, how will the content be interpreted? So another two good questions that we're asking ourselves through our many discussions about how will be, how the information will be captured, how it will be interpreted to ensure that whoever is on the other side of that message is able to interpret the results. As we go through this project, we are noting that majority of these questions will actually be answered directly on our site. So we've created a team project site. And this is our team project site. So we encourage you all to follow along with our journey. We call this site the internalecho.earth, and it follows our story, the record itself that we're building, blog updates, what progress we've made so far, and all of our contact details. So as we go through here, we can see the original notion of what we were set out to create. So our original mission from the International Space University, our mission statement itself, which I read earlier, as well as our objectives and approach. So how we're tackling this, and from a team alignment standpoint, how we're working together as a team. We have more information as well, just about the university itself. However, if you go into our story, this is really our introduction of how we foresee the first Golden Record and how we're going to build upon that within this Golden Record that we're creating. We also have an overview of our team. So we're in the middle of taking all these photos and putting it up on the site. However, this is all of our team members that will be contributing to the project. So feel free to go through here and learn more about our team members. Within the record itself, we've created so far our record plan. So we have specifically our poster or our front page of the record led by our amazing and built by our amazing graphic design team. We've also created an overarching preliminary concept of what will be included within our report. So here we have the full report itself and all the different components that will be included. All of the ongoing work that we're doing is captured within our progress blog. So specifically here, we have a blog of all the work that's been done so far, a lot of our thought process, how we're making decisions, what decisions we're actually making. So for instance, this one was from last week. We went down all the different roles, the core teams, what's going to be changing every week. We have all the orientation of what those core teams are. We had a meeting with Nina Drake, so we captured that information as well here, and how we came up with our mission statement. And then similarly, in the subsequent weeks, or in the past weeks, we have gone through around how we can communicate, meeting with our chairs and what they've inspired us to work through, some idea selections that we're going through and doing some brainstorming work about what we want to put within the record, and then having some thought-provoking conversations. In conclusion, we are also including our contact information here because we would love to hear from all of you about what you think is the best advice or how you would advise us towards this Golden Record project. So we do have this communication link right here. And with that, as we're going through the different notions of what we're trying to create, I will pass it over to my teammate Guillaume to talk about some of the technology, art, and data details.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jacqueline. All the projects we've been seeing today, they are all part of the same thing, of the Maslow pyramid of humanity. And the agriculture is about how we can subsist, how can eat in space. The suborbital flights are the first step for us to be outside Earth for all citizens. And finally, the lunar base will be our first step outside the solar system. So our project is another level at the top of the Maslow pyramids, and we can do this project with all the steps, all the final layers of this pyramid. We are dealing with technology arts and data to try to capture what is the human spirit, the human essence, to send it through the cosmos. This is a statement of what we are right now on Earth and what we want to be in the cosmos. So we wanted to show you some really concrete stuff, because the media, the way we will transmit this information, this arts, is an important way of the process. Let's take a look at the recent past. I don't know if everybody knows, but the recent Perseverance Mars rover embed 11 millionth name on it. And my name is actually 2 times on Mars, because I'm also in the InSight probe. And this is actually my first step in space. And NASA has developed a technology called e-beam, and each name is written on those 2 little silicium chips on board the Mars Perseverance rover. This is more something like symbolics, but symbolics are very important in space mission. So we had the discussion with an artist called Nahum, and he said, do not think 2D. Do not think only analog. It said to us, think 3D. And we wanted to go further and think 5D. And new technologies like eternal 5D data storage can embed the equivalent of thousands of Blu-ray discs and also analog data. So also arts, because if you wanted to send all the knowledge that we have, we could only send Wikipedia in USB sticks, and it doesn't make sense. We have to choose what is humanity is about. And you get 2 examples on this slide. You got the Holy Bible encoded in a digital way. And at the right, you got the Magna Carta as a piece of art, as a 2D piece of art. But with this technology, we can also include all the sculptures, all the paintings, all the knowledge that we think are representing our species, the humanity. Thus, this is not only about knowledge, it's not only about data, this is also about what makes our earth beating and what is the essence of being human. I don't know if I didn't heard of the Arcman Emission Foundation before. They've sent the technology into the Tesla rovers. We were sent into space something like two years ago. And they developed a really interesting concept based on nanofish. Fish were technology from the 60s, as they adapted it. And what is interesting, it is just analogical. There are absolutely no zero, no one, no data, no electronics. This is just purely analogical. And on the size of a letter, you can send the equivalent of more than 1 million pages. And those technologies have 2 common interests. They are very durable. The first that I show you is virtually can last the edge of the universe, as a nanofish can stand for 50 million years or longer in the cosmos. Thus, this is a great way for us to transmit, to send a message through time and space, and time-space, which are way longer than the human spirit. So this is the time we need you. We really need you. Because we don't want this to be just a tidbit. We don't want this to be just an exercise. We really want, as a team, and I will show you the team in the next slide, to send this message through space, and we need a probe for it. Because the probe will define the target, which means the stars will send a message. This will also define the payload, and we are designing a payload to be very small or quite huge. This is included on the designing process of mentions. And also when our message will be sent to stars, because if it's been done in 50 years, maybe we will have to update this message. Look, we are sending a strong message to you right now. We need your guidance to make this project into a real probe sent into space.
With that, thank you so much for your attention. We've linked our site here below. So as I mentioned, we have that contact us capture site directly within our page. And we'd be more than happy to hear any advice, guidance, any probes you think we should look into, really reaching out to the community that's all here today. to give us guidance, and please keep in touch. Thank you so much.
That was really, really great. I really like your good in record presentation. That's really, really awesome. So thank you so much for that. I see you guys have a really great idea. I do hope you get something really great out of this. So thank you so much. Thanks to all the team for all the great work you've shown so far. I really want to appreciate everybody that is behind the scene who has worked tirelessly to make sure things are going well. I know the next 28 days or so, 29 days will be really, a lot of work for you guys. And I want to wish you the best, as you keep the nights, burning, the night lamps burning to get your works finalized. So thank you so much for all the work you've done so far. What we are going to do, we have some few minutes for questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some few questions, and then we're going to see if we have any questions from the rest of the people we have in the public, if anybody has some questions for you. So I'm going to go back to Michael. I just want, brief answers, please. 30 seconds per person, if possible, at the most a minute. So far, I want to know what you've learned, coming to ISU, how you think, what has been your experience so far with the 3 L's of SGSC, the 3 I's of SGSC, sorry. What has been your experience? What do you think you've learned so far? Has anything changed in your perspective, since you've joined SGSC? So I just want like 30 seconds, at the most a minute for each person. So Mikhail, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah. Wow. I learned so much. I've been part of the ISU alumni people from Israel, and they always kept on saying how amazing this experience is, and no one from the outside can understand. And now I understand. I think the thing that I learned the most is really how to collaborate with such a diverse and international team. I mean, I'm used to working with people from outside of my country, but not in this scale. Number 2, also how to look at a project, a space project, but any project in a very holistic way, and how to really get the understanding from very, very different angles, from the law to the humanities, to the engineering, and so on. So I think that was amazing. And also I really appreciate ISU's and SSB's logic in the kind of creating an environment that resembles real life, which is not always so easy. But it has been great overall. Yeah, I've been loving it and can't wait for the last push, which is the following week that we have.
Yeah, I'm really glad about that. I'm glad about that. I'm sure the last push is the most exciting one. You definitely have a lot to enjoy, still to enjoy. Garima, are you there? Yes, you are.
Yes.
Let me have you too.
Oh, for me, it was a roller coaster ride from day one, but I've learned a lot. Like I entered as a specialty in human performance, but then I learned about engineering, specifically laws, as well as applications, and so many things which I have never thought of that I will gain in such a short period of time. Moreover, an amazing team, though it's a virtual environment, but I never felt that it's virtual. For me, it's part of my daily routine. It's more of a real sort of thing. And intercultural, yes, I have learned so many things from different cultures, and I have started even incorporating something into my day-to-day activities as well. So yeah, professional as well as personal gains, I can say, from in this 5 weeks and 1 more week to go. Thank you.
It really gladdens my heart to hear this kind of response from you, because I know it's an online experience, and you have people in Strasbourg and people in Granada. You might probably feel like you are losing touch, a sense of touch, but I'm really glad to hear this kind of experience from you, this response from you. So I'm glad about that. Carol, let me hear your own response too, please.
Yes, hi, thank you so much. So personally, I'm a doctor in medicine. I'm not an engineer. So it's been absolutely fascinating to just get all these different perspectives. I think I speak for all of us when I say that we've all kind of found a family with a common passion, and it's just an incredible feeling. And just getting everyone's kind of different perspectives, even though we have this common passion, just coming at it from all different sides. That's been really, really just heartwarming, really. And you know, everyone giving it 200%, both kind of on lectures, but the kind of team building, shall we call it? No, it's been a great, great experience, and I think none of us want this to finish.
Dan?
Yeah, I'd like to echo all the words said by everyone else. Well, for me, I've come from an astrophysics background, just graduating, meeting people here who've been through entire life, people who've written books, people who've been to Antarctica, people who've done incredible things, and it's really, really nice to meet everyone, get to know. From such an international background, being in the UK, especially over COVID, you stick to just like people around you, and you don't get to see many others. But culturally, and also then culturally, we get to have culture nights. We get to learn so much, like how to cheers properly, or how to do all sorts of other things. And I found that really interesting. And then from a disciplinary background, I've only learned about physics, and then learning about engineering. My department is human performance in space, so learning more about the biology and medicine aspects. And then going on to the stuff that I didn't even consider: business, law, economics, and ethics, the stuff we don't really even consider during university. But learning it here really brings a different light to the space industry and exploration as a whole.
You know, thank you so much for your responses, Carol and Dan. You know, one thing I really appreciate about the space industry is it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter your skills. It doesn't matter what your training is, what your experience is. There's a place for you. The space industry is for everybody, even if you study language, even if you study, you know, art, whatever you study, music, everything you study, anything you do, there's a place for you. You know, there's a place for you in the space industry, which is the beauty of it. So everybody is inclusive. Everybody can have fun. We can all be productive together. I really love that about the space industry. And I'm glad you've seen that, you know, coming to ISU. I'm really glad about that. Aiden?
Yeah, so it's been a really cool experience in my early career. So I've really loved the opportunity to meet a lot of really talented and smart people who have different perspectives from all around the world. Especially hearing from speakers and things like that, and getting to meet and make friends with so many people from everywhere. It's been a really cool experience, and love hanging out with everyone every night. And yeah, looking forward to these next couple of weeks with them.
All right, I'm glad about that too, because it's really about the people. Much more than anything you learn, because a lot of things you learn you might not even remember in some few months' time, but it's about the people. It's about the people you meet. So I'm really glad about that. Giorgio.
Yeah, also for me, it's kind of the same. We already touched a lot of important topics of ISU, and so like we came across different cultures, different lectures, and everything for me personally was new. So in these 3-4 weeks that we are here, I already learned a lot of things, and it's been also super cool meet a lot of people that have done as lectures that were really cool, and be able to talk with them personally, privately. And for sure, this is a big advantage that this type of university can give us. So I'm waiting for the next 3 weeks.
Okay, all right. 3 weeks is around the corner anyway, so a lot of sleepless nights coming. All right, Antonio.
Yeah, actually, I want to say that I come from an engineering background, and I was very surprised or stumbled upon the different the kind of topics that we can cover in space matters, and I'm very glad to acquire knowledge about those, and especially contribute to part of them, like for example the TP or the department. Personally, I just chose something that in terms of department is very different from my background, business, which I think that I wanted to challenge a bit myself. So I found it pretty interesting to get those notions. And the most important thing beyond the the academic expert knowledge that we can get, is the connections that we can, the bonds that we can have with the people, working every day, having fun every day, suffering all together. These will make bonds that I guess that will be very, 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 very tight, and that will last for all our lives. And I guess that we will enjoy also after the SSP. So I have enjoyed so far, and I'm looking forward for the next couple of 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francesco.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Antonio steal all my words. But yeah, actually, I'd say one of the most important things for me is the networking that SSP enables, and I'm really happy to be here with this intercultural in this intercultural framework, and full of different disciplines. I think that every day, in a way or another, in a context or in another, being at restaurants or being at lectures, we learn from each other indirectly. And I think this is most beautiful perspective from which one can look at the SSP experience. It's not just a matter of academia. It's a matter of, bond relationships, and that maybe, my opinion, will last forever.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're really on point about that. Really on point. Gillian, yeah, and Jacqueline. All right, Gillian, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I remember well of the times, and something like 16 months ago, I was asking to myself, what will I do for the next 30 years of my professional life? And I started to investigate, and I was, hey, I've always been passionate about space, so why don't make it a job? And then I contacted the ISU, and here I am. I don't know how, but here I am. And so that's a pleasure to be here. The more I know about the space industry, the space technology, the more I realize that I don't know. And the second thing that I realize is that the future is finally happening. In the 70s, when my father looked at actually the end of the 60s, looked at the first man on the moon, he believed that when his son will be 40 as I am, everybody could go to space, but it didn't happen. But the future is happening right now. As we can see, the industry is growing faster and faster each year. So I believe this is the right time to be in it. And that's why I'm so pleased to be in here with such different and intelligent people from those different countries with such different background. And I feel very humble in front of them.
All right. So let me see if we have any question from Jacqueline. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Jacqueline. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead.
No, thank you. I think I actually have a similar response to Guillaume in that I was unsure what to expect coming here. I knew that I wanted to work in space, and this was the best place to start that journey. I also feel like I've been given a real overview effect of what it's like to work in the space industry while attending these programs. So all the core lectures really gave me that, and had a really good understanding of everything that it is to work in and to be in space.
I'm really glad about your experience. I'm glad you're here. I'm sure you're going to be having a lot of fun even in the next years and years to come. Priyanka, please let me know if we have any questions from the general public. Do we have any questions for the team? Okay, the golden record. So have you thought on using self-replicating spacecrafts in order to spread, exponentially within the observable universe? This is a question to Gillian and Jacqueline.
Yeah, we have thought about that. It depends on the timeline. If we have something like dozens of years, we can design that. If we have to send it in the next year, this won't be possible. But I had, extra slides. I always have extra slides. So
yes, we had some extra slides actually going into what that would look like. We'd be happy to even take them one offline. I know that we only have a couple minutes left here, about what the possibilities are as well.
Yeah, let me share our screen. So this will be tac. Partager l'écran. Okay, so we've been thinking this is just an idea. It's something which could be very easily doable right now. It was better than a message, maybe 1,000 messages. And we've been thinking of sending with a deployment device thousands of tiny little messages, because using 5D storage, you can send lots of data in a very few space, a very few volume. So this is kind of the idea that we're thinking for. So to be synthetic, everything depends on the timeline that we have, as we don't know which pod we will send it. And the size of message keep it possible to send thousands of them through space.
All right. Thank you so much. We are really past time, but Priyanka, if I think I can still accommodate one more question if we have one more question.
No, that are all the questions we have.
All right. So great. I'm past time. I don't know if I have any extra time. I would have loved to ask you a lot more questions. But I really would like to say I'm really glad about seeing all your presentations, seeing the work that has been put in. I know a lot of work is going on behind. I'm really glad about what you've done so far. And I want to know that no matter how stressful it might be, enjoy, relax, have fun. I'm sure a lot of people are there to work with you. So feel free to ask for help if you need help. Just feel free. The ISU community is a very great community, so feel free to ask for help if you need help at any time. I'm sure there's someone to help. One thing I'm going to say I want to really, appreciate the chairs for the work you're doing so far, even in this very strange time. The chairs, the co-chairs, and the TA, the teaching assistants, really want to appreciate you. Since I'm here also on behalf of the SGAC, the Space Generation Advisory Council, I would just like to mention that, beyond SSP, the Space Generation Advisory Council is also a good way to connect with people of like minds from all around the world. You can get to connect, you can get to be part of project groups, you can get to do a lot of things. So far, you're between 18 and 35. If you're still within that age bracket, you can always go on the spacegeneration.org, and then you can get to be part of the Space Generation Advisory Council. And also, this is just an advice to the team projects groups. The IAC, the International Astronautical Congress, and the Space Generation Congress that comes up every year. I know this one is in Dubai, and already the submissions for the proposals, the presentations probably are already closed. But if you can always submit your team project, for next year, the abstract for next year, if it is accepted, you can always present your papers at the International Astronautical Congress. Give it more light, give it more, more views, let people hear more about the work you're doing. I know it's time for me to step aside. So once again, I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to say great work. I look forward to seeing these beautiful faces. We are going to become alumni very soon, and then you join the community, and then we get to meet very, very soon when this craziness is over. Sebastian, Klaus, I see your face. Matthews, Frenzy, I see your face. Thank you so much, everybody. It's time for me to step aside. So looking forward to seeing you guys and ladies around the world in a very short period of time. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abraham, and thanks to all the on-site and online participants for giving this wonderful TP presentation. Moving on to our next and the second last session of the Alumni Conference. So without further ado, Matthias, the floor is yours.
Hi all, welcome to our Entrepreneurship and Founders panel. Our topic today is what does it take to be an entrepreneur in space today? We have two guests. One is Janina Halak and the other one is Sebastian Klaus. Janina is an SSP 18 alumni. She holds a bachelor, 2 master degrees, 1 PhD in aerospace engineering, and she's CEO and co-founder of UARX Space located in Spain. And Sebastian Klaus, he was a German army officer turned entrepreneur, attended the Army Officer School, did his bachelor and master in aerospace engineering in Munich, is an alumni of SSP 2012, hold a pilot license, doing his MBA at ESB Business School, and now with his startup, he's at ISA Big in Reutingen. Good to have you here, both Janina and Klaus. Thank you. Yeah, our topic is what it takes to be an entrepreneur in space today. And before we go into that question, I'd like Janina to start a short intro of her company. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthias, and hi, Sebastian. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, well, I have a really short presentation about my company, and after this, I would be happy, or after I would be happy to take questions. Well, Warts Space was founded last year, but we have started with the project in 2016. So one of the first advices is that even though you can have like a good idea or like a company around your head, it takes time if you want to do the things in the right way. The company was funded by Andres Villa and myself. In addition to be ISU alumni, we both went to Cal Poly, and it is well known to be the home of the CubeSats, and that is a big part of WAR's business plan. We are a team of 10 people. We also have 2 advisors. One of our advisors is Jordi Puxuari. He's our technical advisor, and he also was our professor at Cal Poly. And Dr. Tanya Masansuan, and maybe all of you know her. She's like the one and only expert in space law. She's the European reference in space law. And I met her while I was doing the SSP 18 in the Netherlands. Well, our team has background not only in CubeSat, but also in some of these satellites and deep space payloads that you are seeing on the screen right now. Basically, we started with GEO satellites, geostationary satellites, and Earth observation satellites. We did our career there, and then we moved from the traditional space industry to the new space kind of thing. And then in this way of the entrepreneurship, we met a lot of people from Europe with great backgrounds. So this is pretty much all the experience that we have in the team. If we're talking about the small sats, we can say that since the creation of the standard of the CubeSat standard in 1999, the last 20 years, around 1,300 satellites has been launched to space. But if we see the next coming 10 years, people is talking about, not only people, but the market is mentioning that there are going to be more than 5,000 satellites. There is one problem that came because this standard, the CubeSat standard, and also the small sats have evolved over the years. And is that if you want to place different satellites in different orbits, you just can do only this if you go with a rocket that goes to a specific orbit. If you want to go to the other orbits, you will need to course, you don't have dedicated launches to those specific orbits. So you will need to take a dedicated launch for that orbits. In the case of the small sats, it's really expensive because you will need to take multiple launches, and that is not efficient and it's not costly. So what we have started in 2016 at Cal Poly was the design of Aussie, that is an OTV or orbital transfer vehicle. We call it Aussie because it orbits solutions to simplify injection and exploration. The maiden flight is going to be in Q1, 2023. And it basically can accommodate CubeSats, a small sat up to 200 kilograms, pocket cubes, and also give some customers the possibility to host some payloads that don't need to be deployed. Basically, how does it work? It works. We put our satellite, our cargo satellite, into a rocket. This rocket lives in an initial orbit, and we do the rest. We move from the different orbits, different altitudes, or for the deployment of constellations, we do phasing. And then this satellite burns, in the case of the LEO orbits, into the atmosphere of the Earth. So the mission of the company is to provide transportation services to non-traditional destinations from low Earth orbit, but with the main goal to do this type of deployments around the moon and deep space. As I told you before, well, these are the different payloads that we can accommodate on the left, and on the right, these are the maneuvers that the OTV can do. So this is big, right? This is a big thing. So what we have done was to start with called the MVP, or minimum viable product. And we developed the first Spanish CubeSat deployer. But okay, there are deployers. There are many of these deployers around the world. You may think, okay, what are you doing in a deployer? Basically, as I told you before, the CubeSat standard has evolved. The standard states that the protrusions need to be 10 millimeters on sides Y and X. But the reality is that this is not enough for complex LEO missions. But if you're going interplanetary, this is not enough for solar panels. So our deployer can take up to 20 millimeters protrusions, and this gives a lot of room for solar panels, antennas, or any other type of subsystem that the customers need to take on board. Another thing that we are working is in separation systems, separation rings for the small sat, 8, 15, and 24 inches. But this is a project that we are going to have ready by the end of this year. If you want to go far, you have to go together or collaborate with different companies and institutions. And these are some of the companies that we are collaborating, not only companies from Spain, but also DLR in Germany. DLR is providing the communication module for our OTV. And we have recently announced our cooperation with Down Aerospace, which is a propulsion company based in the Netherlands and New Zealand. We are based in Spain. Our headquarters are in Migran, and it's the building that you can see on the top of the slide. And in the next month, we are moving to a 1,000 square meter facility here in the same area as well. Well, I think that's all on my presentation.
Thanks a lot, Janina. This leads me to the first question. I mean, what led you to found your own company?
Well, I think that it was a combination of different things. I had like the year that I decided to, okay, we're gonna go for this was in 2019. And that year I got like 25 job offers from different companies, even some of our like competitors. I don't like to say competitors, but other companies. And I say, I mean, I have 25 offers. This is saying something to me, right? I had the background in GEO and LEO satellites, and also all the experience that I gathered at Cal Poly. And we were working on our spare time before founding the company and incorporating the company. So I say, maybe it's the right time. And I think it was the combination of those things. And then the same year, my son was born. And I said, I really have to do this. I mean, if it's like the saying, if it's not me, who? And if it's not now, when? So I say, okay, let's go for this. Let us stop like playing with this on our spare time and just do it like with a proper company and a business.
This was a lot of risk, founding a family and a company more or less at the same time.
It certainly is. I don't recommend anyone who is trying to do the same. I mean, everybody can do what they want, but it was tough. It was really difficult. But I'm here. I survived, and I think it's part of your choices, right? You can either wait or yes, sorry.
Sorry. Have you mitigated your risk? I mean, or did you say, okay, that's the chance. I have to do it now, and doesn't matter what happens next? Or do you have a kind of safety net?
I mean, talking about the business, of course, this was all in. You always has risk. If you go to work for a company, maybe that company, I don't know, you don't like that company, you don't like the project, you don't feel comfortable with the people. So you always have risk to mitigate. In our case, we did the things slow at the beginning, like talking to potential customers, talking to people, gathering requirements. And once we had everything set, we decided to go for incorporating the company. So yeah, okay, so I think we took some time to mitigate all the potential risks, but you always have risks. Things could not work. I mean, when we founded, the next month, the coronavirus started, and that was something that nobody was expecting. So I don't know. I think we did a good job.
So you have tested your idea before you started up the company, or was it the first phase of the company in order to get product market fit, in order to see whether there is a market for your product?
Yeah, well, we certainly knew the market even before those trends that are announcing. I was there when they do the first and second CubeSat deployers at Cal Poly. I got to talk to a lot of CubeSat developers. I did a CubeSat structure. Andres also did orbit determinations and formation flying for 6-unit CubeSats on Mars. So it was certainly something that we knew that was gonna work. But we took time. Maybe if I can give an advice to the people that is listening, I would say that it is, even if you're not 100% sure or 90% sure, just start before. Just go for it. But of course, you need to do the things right. Yeah, you don't want to go just create your company, stay for 6 months, and then boom, because that is something that I also see frequently, right? People that they just want to be CEO of their own company company. It's the only thing that they want to do, but sometimes they don't even know what is the problem that they are solving, right?
Okay. Let me lead the discussion to another question, which is very typical for startups and also scale-ups, and that's recruiting and HR. Everyone is searching for the brilliant talent, yeah, and it's the hardest job to find them, and it's some say the most important job of the CEO to hire people and onboard them and doing the entire process and without bias, and yeah, you know the process. How did you find your co-founder? Or have you recruited him, or have you ever known him?
That's an easy question. He's my husband, so
Yeah, okay.
I have to say that I met him like long time ago, and we really get along really well. We work together, so that is a short. Talking about the team, I agree with you, Matthias, that is one of the main jobs of a CEO. In the early days or at the beginning of the company, the first 2-3 years, I would say. I think that you have to know really well what are your strengths. And I'm really good at that, finding the right people, other people that are like line up to enter to our company. But for some reasons they are not here with us today. I think that it's part of the culture of the company. You have to define what do you want for your company, and I knew that I wanted to have good people in my company, and of course if they were brilliant, the better. But I didn't want to have like people they were like A+ and they didn't get along well with others. So when we do interviews, for example, we kind of have 50% of the grade goes to their background and well, knowledge, skills, and the other 50% is about the people, what they want to do in life, what are they applying to our company and stuff like that, and the attitude, of course. And we were really lucky because all the people that is in our company is super supportive. They are committed. Everybody is like helping each other. Even when sometimes I say, oh my God, this is again, it's happening, or we have like some difficulties, they cheer me up. and so it's, I think it's the way to have good people and know what do you want for your company. I also see, because it's happened to me all the time, that you want to connect with some CEO of a startup or scale up. Sometimes they don't reply to your emails. Sometimes they don't reply to your messages on LinkedIn, and that talks about your company, right? Because this type of business that is like the B2B, you have to connect with people. If you don't know how to connect with people, I mean, the company could be like great. They could have raised a lot of money, a lot of euros from whatever, venture capitals or investors. But I mean, I'm sending you an email, just reply, just say yes, no, but reply. So that is another important thing that I think it's part of the HR thing or
I fully
things
agree.
that you have to handle.
Yeah, I agree to that. Let me just finish the HR topic. So you have a process. You try to exclude bias, and you're trying to standardize the process as good as possible for your stage of growth. Yeah.
I didn't get the first part. Sorry.
A lot of startups nowadays recruit. Yeah, they just recruit what they get. What I have seen from other companies, the better way is you have standardized tests and standardized questionnaire and trying to filter biases. This is what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, are you
that.
recruiting exclusively in Spain, or do you have a hard time to find the resources in your area?
No. No, not only in Spain. Actually, I'm originally from Argentina, although I have the Spanish citizenship as well. When I moved to this country, I didn't have the citizenship, and it was like they have to sponsor me. So I know how tough it is for someone that does not have the citizenship of the country to get to the country. So then I got the citizenship, I found the company, and now I'm Spanish as well. And I know that there is a lot of valuable human capital outside Europe as well. So what we have done was to register our company to be able to hire people from outside the European space agency, the European community, sorry. So yeah, so we hire from all over.
Okay, thanks.
Pretty much.
Okay, I would say in order to we have a second company here, Sebastian Klaus, and I would say we are moving to Sebastian, introducing his great idea. Let's see what Sebastian can tell us. Sebastian, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Matthias. Thanks for having me here. I think I would first like to introduce myself briefly. So I am an alumni of a Space Studies program 2012, so a couple of years before Janina, aerospace engineering background. So this Space Studies program was in the USA, in Florida, and I've got the most amazing memories of that time. Was just incredible. We saw 2 rocket launches and was the 25th anniversary, so really a great time. I have a commercial pilot license and I love to be outside. But as Matthias already said, I also have a military background, and maybe the most important lesson that I've learned there is to always bring all your men, women, and equipment home safely. And if you look at aviation, emergency procedures matter. So as a pilot, you learn how to do an emergency landing. As a skydiver, you learn how to use your reserve parachute, and some airplanes like the Cirrus are even equipped with emergency airframe rescue systems. But if we look at spaceflight, it's a different thing. So this is an advertisement video from SpaceX, and you see the environmental effects, and you also see this rocket exploding. And it doesn't just explode like that. It is actually being detonated intentionally from the ground because it had a avionic malfunction, and there was no way to bring it back down to Earth safely. And this is the reason why I'm founding this company now. And the vision of the company is to protect our planet, provide space, which means we want to enable 24/7 space access at minimum cost and maximum environmental protection. And how do we do it? We have a technology that enables you to bring back any cargo from space, and it's completely scalable. So it could be a rocket stage, but it could also just be a CubeSat or a student experiment. And so this technology is actually of interest to a lot of different markets, starting with new space launch providers like the new ones that we have in Germany right now, Rocket Factory Augsburg or ISU Aerospace, who have just closed their Series B financing round. But also established launch providers like Arianespace, and then of course research institutions like ESA, DLR, CNES, or I've also mentioned the Space Resources Luxembourg initiative here, because this might be a future market. Like if they are successful in really bringing back precious metals, for example, from asteroids, and we see space manufacturing at some point, then in this future market, you will also need some sort of downmass capacity. And now if we look at the space launch market in particular, in the global space industry, we have 350 billion euros revenue annually, of which about 5 billion euros go to the commercial space launch industry. So it's just a tiny fraction, but it's the enabler for everything else. So if you want to do Earth observation, communication, navigation, whatever you want to do in space, you need a launch, like Janina has already explained. And so in this market, you actually have fierce competition. So there are more than 90 rocket types already in service and more than 50 under development. But for us, this competition is not a threat. It's rather the foundation of the business idea, because we want to save our customers 20 to 40% cost, for which we take a revenue share, and thus we create a win-win situation. So there are two major trends in that market. One trend is reusability. Callisto is a German-French cooperative project developing a vertical takeoff and vertical landing rocket, similar to what SpaceX does. And the ArianeWorks Themis might become the successor to Ariane 6 in the future. And of course, well, if there's something to copy, sorry to say that, but there's also a lot of Chinese companies working on reusable vertical takeoff and vertical landing rockets now. The second major trend in the market is a trend towards small launches. And what you see here is the two German companies, ISU Aerospace and Rocket Factory Augsburg, but also two American companies, Rocket Lab and Astra. And as you can see in the market study by Goldman Sachs, the majority of launches will be in the small launch sector. And as Janina has already mentioned, these small launchers, they want to provide dedicated launch services, especially for small satellites. Josef Aschbacher, the new ESA Director General, has said Europe needs a leap forward. And I think that's true, because Europe is currently 10 to 15 years behind the USA in launcher technology. And while we are trying to build reusable first stages, in the USA, they are already developing the fully reusable Starship for a Mars landing. And so we really need to make a leap. And this is what it could look like. So imagine you are a rocket company, a small launch rocket company, for example, ESA Aerospace, and you want to launch satellites into orbit. Could be for ESA, but it could also be for Janina's company. And now the first thing that you need to do is for launch preparation, you need to move all your hardware from, for example, Central Europe to a launch site. That could be Andoya in Norway, or it could be Kourou, French Guiana. And this is Andoya Space Center in Norway, where you would integrate your satellite and your rocket. And while you are doing your final launch preparations, we would send out a recovery ship 48 hours before you launch. Because when you launch, your first stage of your rocket will actually come back. The second stage will go to space, but the first stage will come back definitely. And when it comes back, after about 500 kilometers flight, it will be re-entering the atmosphere. And it is protected by what we call the space chute, which is a space parachute, like a high velocity parachute. And this space chute protects your rocket stage during re-entry. It slows it down in the atmosphere for a water landing. And so the only part of the rocket that actually touches the water is the tip of the rocket. It's called the interstage. So that is the connection between the first and the second stage, and it's a rugged piece of the rocket, while the rocket engines, which are quite sensitive towards saltwater corrosion, are always kept out of the water. Then the rocket is being recovered and being brought back to the launch site. And so for you as the launch provider, this has a number of benefits, both economically and ecologically. Of course, as most of you will know, a lot of money can be saved by reusing rockets. What you see here is a comparison of 10 expendable small launches of 10 million euros a piece and 10 reusable rockets. So just by reusing the first stage, you save the production cost for the first stage. Of course, you have refurbishment costs, but still you will save at least 20 million euros over 10 launches. And there are people that claim that it's much more like 40 or 50 million euros. This is what SpaceX, for example, says. But I think a conservative assumption is 20% at least. And so here you see a comparison between the space chute system on the left side and the SpaceX approach, retropropulsive landing on the right side. And what you can see is that it's passive. It does not use any fuel. It does not use landing legs and grid fins. It is much more lightweight. And so this has two implications. First of all, you have more payload because you have less dead weight on the rocket. And second of all, it is also applicable to small launches. And the problem with small launches is that they cannot use the SpaceX technology for physical reasons, because the small launches have low mass margins. So if you add grid fins, if you add landing legs, if you add additional fuel for re-entry and for landing, you will not get to an orbit in space anymore. But our technology is applicable. And of course, this also has environmental benefits. So here you see a couple of numbers from 2020. So out of 114 rocket launches in 2020, 100% of all upper stages actually ended up in the atmosphere, burnt up, broke up, landed in the oceans. And of the first stages, less than a quarter was recycled. More than 3/4 actually also ended up in the oceans. And the system has got some additional benefits. For example, iterative development. So imagine you are a new space rocket company and you are trying to start your rocket for the very first time. Chances are high that you will have a malfunction in your engine or in your avionics. And if you have a rocket rescue system like that, you can reuse your rocket after fixing all the bugs. It enables higher launch frequency and lower overhead costs. A reliable recovery, even if you have an engine or avionics failure. Like if you look at SpaceX, they recover 90% of their rockets, but in 10% of the cases, they have a malfunction and it always ends up in an explosion. The system is retrofittable. So even if your rocket is not made to be reusable, you can still make it reusable. And even if it's a small launcher. And what a lot of people don't realize is that in space launch, you actually spend a lot of money on insurance. So typically 5 to 10%. So imagine your rocket costs 10 million euros and maybe your satellites cost 20 million euros. Then you will pay up to 3 million euros for a single launch just for insurance. And last but not least, the system also has the potential for future upper stage recovery. And that would be a breakthrough because then you have fully reusable rockets. And that would bring down costs similar to what we see in aviation. So now the question is, how do we do it? So this is the state of the art. The space chute is an inflatable decelerator. On the left side, you see NASA's hypersonic inflatable atmospheric decelerator. This is already flown a couple of times. And it works by using an inflatable ceramic fiber heat shield that protects the rocket stage. On the right side, you see Ifesto, which is the European equivalent, which is currently under development. The difference with our system is that it's modular, scalable, and reusable. So on the left side, you see a small rocket. This is the first stage of Rocket Factory Augsburg. And on the right side, you see a larger rocket, which is the Themis rocket by ArianeWorks. And so Themis is 30 meters long, while the other one is just 19 meters. But we use the same modules We just use more modules for a larger rocket. And this is how we develop the system. At Stuttgart University, we do systems engineering and we calculate the aerothermodynamic loads. And we can also test materials there in the plasma wind channel. At the German Institutes for Textile and Fiber Research in Denkendorf, we developed the ceramic parachute fabric. And we've got industrial partners for the hot structures, the modular air inlets and turbines, which I'll explain in more detail. And the last two partners are quite new because 4 weeks ago we won at the ISU Business Incubation Center in Reutlingen. And so starting with the incubation in October, we will have Airbus and Bosch as technical support partners. And with Airbus, we'll work on the rocket stage structural loads. So to make sure that the rocket is not damaged when it hits the water. And with Bosch, we work on electronics and power supply. And on the left side, you see how it works. So stage separation, activation of the system, and then this red ring actually pulls the parachute over the rocket to encapsulate it. You'll see a video of a prototype later so that you can imagine it better. And here is the modularity that I talked about. So this is the example of Rocket Factory Augsburg. This is a small launcher where we would use 12 of these modules. And what you see here for size comparison is the ChefX flight experiment from the German Aerospace Center, DLR. And what you can see is that the heat shield panels that we use pretty much have the same size as what is already flown on ChefX. So it's pretty much state of the art. What is new is that we use air inlets to use the boundary layer around the re-entry vehicle to inflate the chute. So we suck in air from the front, and we use ceramic turbines to inflate the parachute to make sure that it's always in the right shape and it doesn't collapse. So the question comes always up, in comparison to SpaceX, they can do a precision landing, like in the middle of the ocean on a drone ship, and we can steer too. So what you do is you use pulley systems to pull the center of gravity of your rocket stage out of the axis of symmetry. And this allows you to create a pitch up moment and a lifting force. And then you can steer through the atmosphere, just like the Apollo capsule during the Mir did, or the Russian Soyuz capsule, or the SpaceX Dragon capsule. And if we want to talk about intellectual property, so what is new is that we use the boundary layer and that we encapsulate the rocket. And this is filed for patent in Germany, and we are going to broaden the geographic protection of the patent to all the major markets in Europe and also in the US, China, India, and so on. This is the prototype that I talked about. So here what you see is how the space chute encapsulates a rocket stage. So once it has moved up there, the only part that looks out is basically the engines in the back of the rocket. And here you see the prototype in a drop test from 30 meters altitude. And so it lands in the water and then it swims on the water and keeps the rocket stage afloat. So these are the last 3 slides. This is the plan where we are today. So we just won at the ISU Business Incubation Center, and we set up the partnership with the University of Stuttgart and the German Institutes for Textile and Fiber Research. And the official company founding is in October. So we are about 2 years behind you, Janina. And the first thing that we are going to do then from October till March next year is a feasibility study. So we want to reduce technical risk, especially in the fiber material. And if that feasibility study is successful, and we've also talked to first potential customers, then we are going to conduct a venture capital Series A financing round in order to build a full-scale prototype, a minimum viable product, which is about 10 million euros. And if that prototype is also successful, then starting in 2023, 2024, we are going to start building up a production line. The company is based at Karlsruhe Baden-Baden Airport. So for a European space company, it's actually a strategic location. So we have access there to a 3,000-meter runway, long enough for the largest airplanes in the world, to the Rhine River, to rails, to a road. And it's also very close to some excellent research institutions. For example, Stuttgart University is an hour away, which is Germany's leading institution for re-entry research. And then, of course, the International Space University is just half an hour away. And Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, half an hour away. And we are right at the border between France and Germany. And so we're actually creating jobs on both sides of the border. And yeah, this is the last slide. So just the key takeaways. So we enable less dead weight and more payload, higher launch frequency and lower overhead costs, reliable recovery, and also launch abort, what nobody can do so far. It's possible to retrofit the system even for small launches. And if we look at future markets, we can bring back any type of cargo from space. So that's the end of the presentation. Just want to say that because the company is only going to be founded in October, the website will only be activated then. But as a sneak peek to all the ISU alumni, I'm really grateful that I can be here today. If you want to reach out already, you can contact me on LinkedIn or on the email addresses that I have here. And yeah, I'm open for your questions.
Thanks a lot. Wow, what a structured project already. Yeah, so great. I would like to start with the first question before we go to a broader Q&A. Just connecting to our topic today, what it takes to be an entrepreneur in space today. How many pitches have you done in order to get the project where it is now? Yeah, from zero to ESA big.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Janina. So this takes years. It really takes years to get from an idea to a point where you can actually show some pictures, show a prototype, just to explain what you want to do. So this takes years.
Yeah, just to show the audience that it's not you not started 2 months ago and had this great presentation ready and get funded immediately. So it's a hard way.
Yeah. So I wrote my bachelor thesis about atmospheric reentry 11 years ago at the Stuttgart University. And so my mentor back then was actually one of the first people to support me in this project again. And so, yeah, it's taken years.
Are you a solo founder or do you have already your team?
I want to start up with a second founder for finances, because my financial background is limited. I'm an engineer by heart. And then I work with a lot of cooperation partners in order to reduce cost at the beginning. So as long as we don't have venture capital involved, it's really hard to pay really good people. And so it's easier to do that via corporations.
Okay. And the last question from my side, because we have really a lot of Q&As, questions. You mentioned you need 10 millions in order to build the prototype. Why that much money for a balloon?
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating it. Yeah?
Oh, it's a good question. It sounds really simple, like it's just a parachute, just a balloon. But if you look at the details, like the devil is in the details. So we are talking about ceramic fibers, and worst case, it's silicon carbide fibers, and these cost like maybe 5,000 euros a kilogram. So we are talking about more than 500,000 just for the parachute material, just the material. And then it's also the construction and the whole testing. I mean, it needs to be super reliable. And so we are probably going to lose 1 or 2 prototypes. And so, yeah, I think 10 million is quite realistic.
Now the very last question. I know I'm famous for last questions. Do you have already customers or perspectives, or are you producing, yeah, just for, you know, for hope, I would say, as a startup?
Yeah. I think you need to know the market really well, and you need to know what's going on and who might be potential customers, and then you need to segment it down. And in our case, we want to start with new space launch providers like the ones I mentioned, like ISU Aerospace, Rocket Factory Augsburg, High Impulse Technologies, Orbex, and so on. And then towards established companies like Arianespace, and then towards research institutions. So that's the order that we want to do. And so one of the first things that we are going to do as part of the ESA business incubation time is approaching potential customers and yeah, hopefully getting 2 or 3 memoranda of understanding, because that we will need in order to raise the money.
Okay. Good, thanks. Let's go to the Q&A panel. I've seen there are a couple of questions. Yeah, thanks, Priyanka. So to Klaus, thinking of future spaceport operations in the Atlantic, are you fully integrated with RFA? Many thanks, Adastra.
Okay, I think the question has been partially answered already, like a minute ago. So yes, we will talk to RFA, but we are not integrated with them yet. But of course, our technology is it's tailored for oceanic operations. I think the future of all rockets is at least close to the sea or on the sea, like we see with the start platforms of SpaceX, for example, or the North Sea Launch Initiative in Germany.
Okay. Let's go to the next. How is Luxembourg planning to get to space for the space resources projects? Or are they just funding projects? I'm not sure you can answer that.
Yeah,
I think that doesn't fit.
Yeah, I think I'm not the absolute expert there, but I think Luxembourg is really concentrating on the resources part of it, and they are not interested in launch vehicles themselves, so somebody else will have to do it for them.
Yeah. I think that's a question to Janina. In your perspectives, are keeping the CubeSat standard or be feasible to modify these requirements such as geometry? Janina?
Yes, well, thank you for the question. I think it's a great question. A lot of CubeSat developers or small sat developers, they think that the CubeSat standard is maybe not enough for them because of the geometry or dimension constraints. I think that in some point, like beyond 16 units doesn't have too much sense to keep the CubeSat standard and move to just like a small sat with a separation system. I think that the key point on the CubeSat standard was not the geometry, but the standardization with the launch vehicle. That was what made the CubeSat standard the success that it is today, and it was, right? The standardization on the mechanical and electrical interfaces, but not the satellite itself.
Thanks. There are many companies working on the OTV out there. How did you do the validation of your value proposition? How are you different from your competitors? So what's your magic ingredient, I guess? Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good question. I think that it was interesting because when we started with this idea, nobody was doing actually OTVs for LEO. Our main objective is to go beyond LEO. I think it's great to have like competitors or other people working with this. Only one company is not going to be able to I don't know how to say the word, like to please all the market, right? The market is huge, and my company is not going to be able to succeed the whole market. So we need to have different companies. It's like the same way we have different airlines on Earth, we need to have different notes. And it also strengthens your business plan, because I mean, you're not the only one doing this, right? And the difference that we do pretty much in-house. We do deployers, we do separation systems. So we do pretty much everything but solar panels and propulsion. So I think that it's another point. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I think we don't have any question from the audience. So dear audience, please, if you have questions, otherwise I'm continuing with my questions. I have an interesting one, at least for me, interesting for both of you regarding the value chain. So one of my learning is you always have to own the value chain in order to control the product, the price, the costs, the delivery, the time to market. Or at least you have the chance to do that. And that can be critical. How are you planning to control your value chain? Sebastian, are you going to build everything in-house like Spire Global is doing that, and a lot of satellite companies, but also another set of satellite companies are building external or have outsourced this competence. So what's your take on that?
So long term, we plan to build everything in-house, but short term, it doesn't make sense for us because, for example, for the feasibility study and for prototyping, if, for example, you need to coat ceramic fibers, the machinery is really expensive. Like if we're talking about, for example, physical vapor deposition machinery, these cost like in the high single-digit million euro area. So it makes more sense to work with cooperation partners for prototyping, but then long term, we want to take it inside.
Long term means, what is long term in
long term means if we can set up a small serial production.
Janina? Janina, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I answered to this question before. Yeah, we are actually moving to a bigger facility to do that, right? To keep that change, that value change, and all the developments are being held in-house, right?
Okay.
90% of them, I would say. So yes, I think it's important of the quality of the products you drive basically.
Yeah. Because it's always the harder way to have your own value chain than using an existing value chain of others, because you're also losing margin and the competence to build it on your own. Yeah. My other question is, I'm dealing with business angels, venture capitalists, and you both are experienced, or Sebastian, you will be soon very experienced on that topic. How you deal with them in terms of they have their set of questions. It must be 10x fast. You have to become a unicorn, and this in 5 to 7 years in the investing period. Yeah. What what's your learning and what can you give to the audience once you deal or when it comes on dealing with business angels and venture capitalists and grants, of course, yeah, and subsidies?
Yeah, I think I can start there. So as you've seen in the presentation, like for us, it's really important to get venture capital on board, because otherwise you cannot finance a prototype like that. So I deal with it in two ways. First of all, I already have a business angel who I met via ISU, actually, as a mentor. And so I'm trying to set up everything, the pitches and the way we approach business angels and then later venture capital in the right way. And then second of all, as I said, I'm going to have a second founder with me who has a business background, and his main job will just be working with venture capital, because I don't see myself there. No.
Okay. Yeah, Nina?
Yes, well, I think that how you deal with them, and I'm not an expert in this field, but I think that there is a lot of money there, a lot of money, and you have to really and think, who is giving me, besides the money, source, let's say, of the VC, what else are they doing for my company?
Nina, your connection is very unstable at the moment. Maybe you can switch off your video.
There are a lot of. Okay. Yes, I will. Now it's better now.
Way better.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was saying that there is a lot of money down there. The first thing that you have to think is, okay, I am just going for venture capitals or investors, or I am doing debt financing. I am using the European, for example, in our case, fundings, the regional fundings. There are many ways on getting money. If we are talking about venture capital, as I say, I'm not an expert with I mean, I don't have like 10 years of experience in talking to investors, but just a couple of them. But I think that you have to know your worth, what your company is offering, and be picky as well, because they have to also give you other things besides money, right? They need to help you grow, help you get customers, help you with the financing. Let's say if your background is not like if your background is more technical background. So I think that you have to think that they are also people. I like to think like that. And what else are you giving me besides the money? So I don't know. That is my opinion.
Okay. But I think because we are running out of time, just to wrap up, the last question, and I would connect it to our first question: what does it take to be an entrepreneur in space today? So what are your 3 top takeaways you would like to share with the audience?
Nina, do you want to start? Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I think one thing we both mentioned already, it takes time. I think that's most important. And then you need to start building something. You need to have some sort of a minimum viable product, like Rami, what Janina showed us, because you learn faster if you have something in your hands, and you can also exchange with other people, and then they will give you some valuable advice, and that will bring you further. And then I think what I've also learned in my experience as an officer is you need to have a good small team. So I would rather work with a small team of really excellent people than with a larger team of not so good people. And I think the team is it in the end. That's most important.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I think I agree with Sebastian. If I have to say 3 ingredients or words, whatever, I'd say that you have to be fearless. Then you have to cooperate. Like cooperations are the key to moving forward. And the last one, last but not least, is have patience because this take a lot of time. And if you like get bored in between, in the middle, it's like, oh, I mean, it's not gonna work. So those are my 3 advices or ingredients.
Yeah, thanks a lot. The word patience I hear a lot in space. Yeah, so it's everything takes a while. Yeah, so thank you for participating to this really interesting discussion, at least for me, and I hope also for our audience. And I would like now to pass to Nassim as our next moderator. Nassim.
Thank you very much, Matthias. So hi, everybody. It's a pleasure really spending this whole weekend with you, this marathon weekend. This has been once again a very successful online alumni conference with more than 600 registrations in total and really high quality speakers. First, I would like to deeply thank Jordi and his team of alumni volunteers who have done an amazing job in organizing this event. All right, so our last panel is about alumni associations. When the SSP 21 and MSS 21 classes graduate at the end of August, ISU will have more than 5,200 alumni from 110 countries around the world. With such an impressive number, you can imagine that having active alumni associations worldwide is really key to keep the alumni engaged in our community, promote ISU, organize local events, bring up feedback from the alums to the ISU headquarters, etc. So today we are going to hear about the ISU USA Alumni Association with a presentation from Angela Pera from SSP 07. And then we'll hear about the Portuguese Alumni Association and also the organization of the Alumni Conference 2022, which will take place in Portugal. And this presentation will be by Isabel Pessoa Lopez. So without further ado, Angela, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nassim. I am Angela Pura. I am the interim chair for the newly reconstituted ISU USA Alumni Association, and I have a presentation to share. So it's short, but let me see if this will work. Sorry, I was just about to test it when we actually went live. And did not have a chance to. Okay, we should be good.
It works.
Perfect. Yay! Unfortunately, the Zoom bar is right where I need to hit presentation mode. And I don't remember the shortcut. Somebody tell me the shortcut for how to get out of this and put into presentation mode.
Go down to the
There it
right.
is. Yeah, no, I just can't. The Zoom bar is in front of the slideshow bar. So let's try this. Did that work? Yay.
Yes.
All right. So this is a very short presentation. I just wanted to let everyone know that the ISU USA Alumni Association, which has long been in existence, but has had a rocky last couple of years, has put together a new format. We have rewritten the bylaws. We are working on a lot of initiatives to get both the ISU USA alumni involved and to work more closely with our colleagues in Strasbourg, like Nassim. So this is what the interim board, these are the members of the interim board. I was voted to be the chair, but I really feel like it's the other members that are the heart and soul of this. Those of you who have been following alumni at all know that Angie Buckley has long, for decades, been a very serious supporter of ISU. She was, a professor. She was a dean of ISU on our campus in Strasbourg, and all of these other folks have either been past presidents of the association or otherwise deeply involved and are passionate about ISU, the 3 I's. It's what ISU is trying to accomplish, and in facilitating, helping it to accomplish it to the best of our ability. So as you can see at the bottom, I say that we're looking for people who are interested in running for seats on the board in leadership positions. As it says, we are the interim board, and we're just getting things set up, and then we will hold elections for additional board members and for alumni to actually run the activities. So this is what we have been doing as an interim board. We're reincorporating as a nonprofit organization. We are developing a transparent financial structure. We're setting up new bank accounts and new auditing systems. We also we have rewritten the organization's bylaws. All US eligible members of the association will receive a copy of the bylaws, as well as the a kind of a call to action, so that when we hold elections later in the fall, we will have passionate volunteers who want to help us to re-engage with our alumni. We have a website, have had for some time, but we're expanding it, and I'll go into detail about that momentarily. And of course, we would be very interested in collaborating with other alumni organizations and with the main campus in Strasbourg to really maximize our reach and our ability to help ISU with its goals, and to help our alumni to reach their goals as well. So let me talk about some of the things that we are planning. As I said, we're reconstituting the website. And so we're planning a lot of both social media and in-person, eventually, as you know, activities to help alumni to reach each other, both informally and more formally. So we're talking about having conferences, but also more networking focused things like happy hours. We're already starting to plan events in relation to conferences that take place near us. So for example, for the last several years, there's been an alumni happy hour in association with the Satellite Conference that takes place here in Washington, DC, where I live. And we have already begun planning for that. And any conferences that take place around the country that will have a large alumni turnout, we will try to have activities, fun activities for our attending alumni to get together. I have been running Space Cafe since 2011, and that is one of the other ways that we intend to do outreach, not just to alumni, but to other people to let them know both about ISU and its mission, and about space in general and why it's awesome. So we have many different ways that we plan on reaching our alumni. But in order to do that, we have to do some development. Donations, scholarships for ISU programs. We're really excited about this. Earlier in this very conference, Michael Lane announced $6,000 worth of scholarships have already been assigned. And we have alumni that are passionate about providing those scholarships to delegate that money. And in order to really provide the services that we want to provide, such as what's listed here under the website, we would like to request dues from our members. We do not have a number for that yet. We're still trying to figure some of that out. But as you can see, we are pretty ambitious in what we would like to do for our activities. So to do that, we need some funding and we need people to help us get the website up to date and keep it up to date. We would also like to have an ISU/ISU USA swag shop. In other words, we want some branded materials. I might be one of the only people who has an International Space University sticker on my car, and that should not be the case. Everyone should have one. So let's see what we can do about that, and so we can really declare our passion for this university. All right, so what can you do? Become a member. We have several membership categories. If you are an American who has attended any ISU programs, if you have attended any ISU programs and are living and working in the United States, and to a lesser extent, but still available, if you are from a country that does not have an alumni association, but would like to be affiliated with one, we have an associate membership that will probably work for you. So please get in touch. We already have some startup funds that have been donated by our interim board members so that we can, once again, incorporate and get the website up to date and so on. You can run for office. As I said, we will be holding elections in the fall. I will keep you up to date about that. We'll be doing outreach soon. Help with web development. We would like to hire someone to keep the website up to date. But if you have expertise and you have time, we would appreciate your help in getting it into the shape that we want it to be in so that it can provide the services that we would like. Speaking of services, if you have bright ideas of what we can do that you think would be attractive and useful to your fellow alumni, let us know. And of course, you can spread the word to your fellow alumni so that we can all contribute. And that's it for me. I will now stop sharing. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Angela, for this great presentation. It's a very good example of what we can do everywhere in the world to reactivate some of the associations, which sometimes have been a bit in standby for a while. So if any of you is interested either in contributing to your alumni association, reviving it, or don't hesitate to let us know. And on the other hand, if there is no alumni association in your country, you can always create one. We've had recently one created in New Zealand. And yeah, we need many more created in the world. All right. And our next presenter is Isabel Pessoa-Lopes, who will speak about the Portuguese Alumni Association, and more specifically, we'll speak about the next Alumni Conference, the one of 2022, which will hopefully take place on site in Lisbon, Portugal. So Isabel, the floor is yours.
Hang on. Hello? Can you listen to me now?
Yeah, we can hear you, maybe a bit louder, if it is possible to increase the sound.
Yeah. It's just that, how am I going to upload the PowerPoint? That's all I need, guidance. I'm sharing my screen, but I don't know if this is the right thing to do. No longer sharing the screen. So how can I just upload the PowerPoint? Hello?
Yeah, I think first one of the organizers should put you in the spotlight because I'm still on the front screen.
Yeah.
So if someone could put Isabel.
Sorry, Naseem, we cannot spotlight until the video is on. So.
Shall I share my screen, the entire screen, or just the window?
Yes, you can share your screen.
It's not allowing me to. But anyway, hang on. Are you seeing my screen now?
It's not the presentation.
It's nothing.
Okay, when you click on share screen, you would see an option of selecting the screen of your presentation instead of the general screen. If you could click on that, that would bring up the presentation. Yes.
Coming? Is that it?
We can see the folder in which the presentation is, but we cannot see if the presentation is open.
It's open on my screen. SSP, can you see that?
No, okay, so maybe you could stop share again, and when you click on share screen, it will show you the presentation window. So you have to select the presentation window and then click on share screen. You would have to stop sharing once more. Yeah.
Okay. And now I've got the presentation, yes, and what now?
If you could select the presentation window, not the general window, and click on share screen, that should open the presentation.
Nope, nothing's happening. Hang on, I'll try again. Window. Now?
Yes, yes, it's your presentation. Could you go to the presentation mode?
Yep. Can you see that now?
I think it didn't select the presentation mode.
Well, I did. I'm seeing it on my screen. Hang on. Shall I send it to you and you upload it from that side?
Sure, you can share it.
Shall I send it?
I've sent my email ID.
Oh dear. I honestly don't understand why this is not working. When I open share screen, it shows entire screen window. So which one?
Share screen, it will show you presentation window. If you can select the presentation window. No, it's the file.
Can you actually see my presentation now?
No, this is your document which is open, like the file document in your computer.
And now if I put presentation view, can you see it?
No, no, we do not see your presentation at all. No worries. If you could just mail me, I could share it on my part.
Okay.
I've shared my email in the chat.
The wonders of COVID. So again, what is your email again?
Yeah, I'll just put it in the chat again.
Okay, we're getting it any minute now, I hope. The good news is that my presentation is a quick one, so we'll recap on that. Okay. I've sent it. I don't know if you got it on that.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. I will be.
Yeah, that's it. That's slide number 1. Yep. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. Sorry about this. No, go back, please. That's still okay. Thank you. So this is going to be just a short presentation on behalf of ISU Alumni Portugal. That's the email contact, isu.pt at mail.com. I'm an alumni from SSP 1992. That's back in last century. And the summer session that year took place in Japan. Wonderful memories from there. So next slide, please. Okay, so just quickly, I'm just going to do a quick overview of what happened since then. I'm Portuguese, but I've left Portugal the previous year, 1991. I went to England, then to Japan, and I haven't returned home for quite a while, years, decades to be more precise. And I've been involved in co-setting up a network of the Portuguese involved in previous years, well, after 1992. 1992 actually was the first Portuguese participation we had at ISU. There were 3 of us. I'll talk about that later on. And up to today, we have 49 Portuguese that have attended the different programs of ISU, SSP, MSS, and the online course you had last year. Also in 2020, I believe Portugal Space, the Portuguese National Space Agency, also had the intensive course held in Portugal for the first time. I believe a dozen of people attended. But so just from the SSPs, MSS, and the online event last year, we have 49. I know that there are 2 other Portuguese engaged in the SSP 2021, so we'll probably be 51 of us so far. Well, from different countries where I've lived, I've tried to set up the network, as I said, also involved with some SDAC activities that I was also trying to set up connections in Portugal because I helped on the co-foundation of SDAC, and I was the first Portuguese national point of contact. Later on, executive council. Wonderful memories from there, because of course that also escalated from ISU experience. And so far, so as I say, we had a network that is not all based in Portugal. I've actually established some connections with the European Alumni Association. Greetings to Graham Weaver. I know he's not online, but I'll always extend my greetings to Graham. And we had some joint lager dinners in England, because in the UK There is no formal association as such, but there are a lot of informal gatherings. Also attended a lot of them in Paris and in other countries where I've been. So basically, that's the chronology of how is this been set up informally, but with great joy, I must say. Wonderful people I've come across so far. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the upcoming events we'll have is that there's going to be the Space Propulsion Conference. As most of you might be aware, this is a great world event. It was going to be organized in Portugal in March this year. It has been postponed due to COVID. We've got a slide with the new dates from the 9th to the 13th of May in Portugal, and we're having a co-site event for ISU only. It's going to be a private twilight gathering, as I say, and we've called it Space by the Ocean Lounge. And so you're all welcome to join us. It'll be on the 8th of May. So the conference starts the following day. So the 8th of May is going to be a Sunday. Whoever is already in Lisbon to start for the conference, more than welcome to join us. There's again our email contact. Join us if you will. It's a wonderful place. It's my country, but it's a beautiful place on earth. So if you don't want to attend the conference, or you on the following day, at least you're going to have a wonderful evening, twilight evening event with us on Sunday the 8th. Again, the contact is on screen. Just give us a shout. Next slide, please. Okay, the SSP 2022, the ISU Alumni Weekend Conference is going to be held in Lisbon, Portugal. The organization of the SSP 2022 itself, it's being organized, I believe, obviously the academic program by ISU. The host is going to be a partnership between Instituto Superior Técnico, Portugal Space, and somehow ISA is also going to be involved, I believe. That implies that the Alumni Weekend Conference will be held in Lisbon, Portugal as well. Next slide, please. So here's the catch. The topics haven't been set up yet. This is early days, but it's going to be something along these lines. Whoever's coming to SSP 2022, and I hope the whole world comes for the weekend, we're going to tell you that we're going to, ideally, the invitation would be, let's go somewhere where the stars actually kiss the ocean. And that's basically everywhere in Portugal. Next slide, please. Going in line with SSP 2022 themed topics will be, which again, has nothing to do with us to decide. That will have to be decided by ISU and the local host. But it will be somewhere around these topics. We'll probably be bridging the gap or bordering the lines between deep sea and outer space, space versus ocean. So I can't anticipate any more details at this point, but this is a giveaway. Next slide, please. And we'll probably, either in technology or future plans, we'll be willing to hear from whoever is going to answer to our call for presentations. It's not going to be open yet. The team is yet to organize all this in line with what SSP 2022 will be. But again, this is a giveaway. It's going to be from outer space to ocean space. Next slide, please. And this is what broadly you can see. It's going to be obviously the ISU Alumni Weekend Conference will have people from ISU, from the local host. This is just the team that has been set up, is already drafting the weekend conference, as we call it. So you'll have 3 people from the SSP 1992, which we were actually labeled as the Tiger Team in 1992. 1992 was, in fact, the first time Portugal had some participants at ISU. So they're the three of us. And we'll have, we've already confirmed the people that are also helping in the local organizing committee, because obviously the extended organizing committee, as I said, it's going to involve people from ISU, from the academic program, and the local host itself. At this time, I can only confirm the people that are volunteering to have, well, to be the local team to, well, to set up things. For just, again, just for the weekend and the conference, obviously. The SSP itself will be dealt with, well, with sort of the official partnerships. So again, we have Ivo from SSP 2011, Luis Ferreira, SSP 2012, Nuno Loureiro, again from the same class, Marta Oliveira, SSP 2015, Jorge Monteiro, 2018, Alice Pais, she was on the online event you had last year, ISP 2020, and last but not least, Bruno Reynolds de Souza, also from ISP 2020 and SSP 2021. There are more people in line to join us locally. We, as I said, this is very early stages. Draft is still the only documents we can provide among ourselves. But again, these are the names that I've already confirmed. So these people exist, and I want to give credit to their good name. Next slide, please. And again, because it's not just going to be Portuguese ISU alumni to be helping with the conference, this is the contact just for the alumni weekend conference. If you'd like to help, please contact our local organizing committee. That's again, that's the email, isu.pt@mail.com. And next slide, please. Basically, that's it. We're going to explore the ocean and space. And someone just pictured it the other day, the future isn't science fiction anymore. So that's what weekends at ISU will be dealing with. Next slide, please. Thank you for watching, and do keep safe. We're not all safe yet. So
thank you so much, Isabel, for this inspiring presentation. And I look forward to working with you starting in the fall to prepare the Alumni Conference 2022. I don't think we have time for questions, but please do not hesitate, anybody, to contact Angela if you want to help, like working on the ISU USA Alumni Association, or Isabel if you'd like to contribute to the Portuguese Space Agency. And now I think we have a little surprise, which was not in the schedule, official schedule. I would like to pass the floor to my friend Ken Davidian, who I see here in front of me. Ken, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully, comm check. Can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up. Good, good, good. Hi, everybody. My name's Ken. And let me do a video check. Can everybody see this wonderful poster from 1989 okay? Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Hi, everybody. My name's Ken Davidian. I'm from 1989 summer session. I had the privilege of being helping run this space sciences program for a couple years in 97, 98, and 99, along with my wife. A lot of important people that have helped mold the summer session program and have helped mold ISU have come from 1989. Maybe not so more so than any other year, but we've made significant contributions, and the most recent of which is the fact that the current President Wanda Dalmau is, also from this summer session of 1989. And it's today we wanted to celebrate him because he's acted as president now. He's been the president of ISU for the last couple of years. And there's going to be a transition over to another dear friend, Dr. Pascal Ehrenfreunde, and that's going to be a wonderful time as well. But right now we wanted to spend a couple minutes celebrating Juan. And hello, Juan, it's great to see you. Virtually, but there's a lot of great memories that we have. There's a lot of 1989ers online with us right now, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak here in a minute. But what we first wanted to do was show you a little video with some pictures, and I don't have music accompanying it, so maybe I'll ramble on, say some words while it's going, but it's about 6 minutes long, and there's some live videos in there. So without further ado, let me start the video and we'll go from there. So in 1989, there was about, if I remember correctly, about 120 of us from about 20 different countries. We had the pleasure of being addressed by the 3 founders of ISU at the time. There were some great moments bringing folks together, you know, in the European Parliament and here in the hills of the Vosges Mountains. But we spent a lot of time in the amphitheaters of Université Louis Pasteur, which is now Université de Strasbourg. There were many, many fun times together, and we grew very close, as does every summer session team. We used chalkboards back in those days, so that was a lot of fun, as were the cultural nights. I think this is a meal in the PTT in Strasbourg back then. Of course, there was the masquerade ball. There were a series of selfies that were taken back about 35 years ago. And the students got to know each other very, very well. Here you're going to see a number of the students then and now. Jane Davis, Craig Crutchfield. Keep an eye on that gentleman on the right, Stefan Hoba. Jim Bryce, currently working for Blue Origin. There he is on the right. Then and now. George Davis. Martha Mejia. Who, thanks to Martha, she helped coordinate this. She put in a great effort in coordinating this. Brian Barnett. Tom Kashingaki. Vincent. Who's that guy? We have a number of students where we didn't have a back then kind of photo, but we have photos of them now. We want to thank all the alumni that provided the pictures. Deborah Factor provided many, many photos.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
Ken, we cannot hear you.
Ah, the audio is not coming through, and I appreciate that. Okay, basically, I'm gonna try to fix that for the next video. You've been hearing me talk so much on right now, so this will all be posted on YouTube, so you'll be able to hear it then. I'll try to get it fixed by the next videos. Sorry about that. That was the first. Let's see if I can figure out virtual desk. I'm gonna try this one. Oh, this is another one. This is another one. This is Royce from SSP99. He can't believe he's already retiring at this age. Seems crazy to him. You've done a tremendous job keeping ISU together over this pandemic. It's incredible how well everything is still functioning, and the organization is definitely going to miss you. But I'm glad that you're taking some time for yourself, and I hope you have a lovely retirement. I apologize for that, folks. Hi, Juan. David Waterhouse here. Just wishing you all the best from sunny Sydney. Take care and enjoy your retirement. Hope to see you soon. Cheers. Sorry about that, folks. Audio glitch, but I did some instant translation there, at least transformation. So this is Emily, and she says, hard to first say how honored I am to be classmate of yours back in 1989 from 32 years ago now. And I found this photo of yours in Strasbourg right in the beginning. And even here, you're already a cut above the rest from everybody else. I know that we only worked together for a very short period of time together during the summer programs at ISU, but I still think you're probably the best direct supervisor from all of the people I've actually worked with. So I'm really excited what you're going to be up to and what your next adventure is after you've stepped down from your presidency, but we can't wait to know and the best of luck with everything that you do. And as usual, you'll always be doing it in the most unusual and spectacular way. Sorry about that again, folks. Here are the professors. They were also in on the act, demonstrating a lot of the complex concepts. You see all the eager students, and there's Juan there. Inman Burke, Blagatov, Professor Marov, Renee and Mark Batosian, both staffers, and Maria Perino, staffer. Now the grand finale focus on all the students. This is during, I guess, the opening of this ceremony, having a lot of fun. Official photo. Nice blurry photo of graduation day, and Juan. Juan was our student speaker. He was the student representative as our closing ceremonies, and as Maria Primo says, we're very proud of him. He's been a great ISU president. And so that is it. So I apologize for the audio. I had to do some instantaneous translation there, and I hope that was okay. But let me kind of open the floor to the other 89ers that are online and see if they have anything they want to add. So I noticed that Deborah's on. I noticed that Brian's on. Would either of you like to speak?
Sure, this is Deborah Factor. Great to see you, Juan, and all the other ISU 89 alums. We had a fabulous time putting this together for you in honor of all the service to ISU starting back so many years ago. And of course, as you also saw in the photos, we had a fabulous 30th year reunion in Strasbourg 2 years ago, which seems like forever when everyone could still be in person back then. I'm now serving on the ISU governing committee, and I'm enjoying being reconnected even in these days of virtual connection. And frankly, when you see all, Juan, that you have done over the past 5 years in bringing together the community in even greater ways, we appreciate all you have done for ISU, for the students, the faculty, the overall space community from your tremendous career, and leave it in such great shape for Pascal. So I want to express my deep appreciation and friendship and wishing you all the best in what's next. Congratulations.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Marta.
Yeah, good. Marta, yes, please.
Marta Mejia. Hello, Juan. Congratulations. I am wearing my pin, and I am wearing also my T-shirt of ISU Strasbourg of them. So I am very proud that a classmate of our generation became president of the ISU. And I am sure that you enable many new generations that students learn how to surf the shores of outer space. I'm sure they are taking with them all the knowledge and inspiration that connect all of us. So congratulations for all your achievements. And I hope that we are going to meet sometime in the future for the next generation meeting. I hope that it will not be in 2029, because we are going to get the visit of an asteroid then, but maybe in a couple of years we can meet together, or next year when the problem, the international crisis fades, and we can meet together. So I send you the best wishes. I was the first Mexican ISU student, and I am very proud of that. So goodbye.
Thank you very much, Martha. Anybody else? Royce, you're on. I saw Brian, you're on.
I'll take the microphone.
Perfect.
Hey, Juan, how are you? So Juan and I were in the business and management program together, and that's because we wanted to be a business and management. And so Juan has done a fantastic job of doing that his whole career, it seems. And I'm just, I am very happy that you became president of ISU. And yes, we are all very proud. You've made us all very proud in what you've done. And you and I had the chance to meet after ISU was over. You were so nice to take myself and Craig Crutchfield down to your house in Barcelona and meet your family. I met your family, your parents in Catalonia, and that was so fun. It seems just like yesterday, and great memories with you, Juan, and so glad that we can stay together, in touch with each other, and I look forward to staying in touch with you very much in the future. So Juan, thanks again for everything. We're very proud of you.
Perfect, great. Thank you very much, Brian, for speaking up. That's great. I want to see if anybody else, other 89ers that are on, if they'd like to say something.
Sure. Yes. Hello.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Right.
This is Francois.
Francois. Francois
Yes.
Spiro. Long
Yes.
time no see.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes,
Loud
very
and
well.
clear.
Very well. All right, lovely. So, yes, I'm also one of the 89ers a long time ago, but actually, I've never really quit the lovely world of ISU. Several of you know about it. I've been a lecturer or a chair at ISU SSPs for many years. I still remember fondly the excellent session we had back in '89 in Strasbourg. I'm one of the local guys, actually. I was recruited locally by Strasbourg to attend ISU. At that time, very few people knew what ISU was all about. And I met you, Ken, I met Juan, and many others who are here today and also in other places. Big thanks to Juan, big thanks to ISU in general. For me personally, it has been a big boost to my career and to my passion of space activities. Juan, I wish you all the best for the new chapter of your life, starting in a couple of weeks from now. And all the best to all of you. It's always a pleasure to be in the ISU community.
Ken, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Unmute myself. There you go. I apologize. Trying to produce a bunch of stuff. Deborah Factor's online, but she said she's in a very loud place, so she can't unmute, but she said she's wishing Juan and all the 89ers the very best. And she says, like all of us feel, it was just like yesterday. It feels like yesterday that we were there. So time flies when you're having fun, I guess. So
Actually, Ken, that I already spoke. That was from Lynn Chambers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Lynn Chambers. So sorry.
I went first.
Deborah. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Again, I've got a couple balls in the air here. So other than that, I mean,
I think Royce wants to say something.
Let's go, Royce. And if there's anybody after that who wants to speak, let us know, because I want to bring Juan up to the podium next.
Thanks,
go,
Ken.
Royce.
Hi.
No problem.
You're doing a great job as master of ceremonies with hundreds of people online, so it's not the easiest thing to do. Juan, we all think the best of you. We can't believe you're retiring. I just think it's crazy at such a young age that you would retire already. But you've done a phenomenal job. As Ken said earlier, it's been especially hard considering the last 18 months and what you've had to deal with, and having handle all of this crisis. It's just amazing that ISU is still working hard. I'm only about 100 kilometers away from you right now because I'm up in Luxembourg. And in fact, I addressed a bunch of ISU students on Monday who came up to Luxembourg to see the local community. It was great. So it's still a phenomenal organization. And Juan, it's a lot of it is thanks to you and what you've done. So thank you so much, and good luck in whatever you do next.
And my apologies to you, Royce, for having to voice over your video like that.
No worries, no worries.
That's good. Okay, so with nobody else in line, I would say, Juan, it's your turn. I would bring you up to speak right now.
I saw that Jane wants to say something.
Oh, Jane, that would be fantastic. I would love that.
Hi everyone. I've just typed a little message. Just wanted to wish Juan all the best on your retirement. The 1989 experience was amazing, and although it was 32 years ago, I still remember so many things. And I was looking through all the photographs, and it's so lovely to see everyone. No one's changed. It's fantastic. I'm not in the space industry anymore, but I'm still keeping contact with some of you directly, and I love hearing about all the things that have gone on and all the wonderful things that you've done, Juan, and everyone else in your team. And that's what I wanted to say, really. Congratulations and thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, Juan, you're up.
And we just heard some signals and sounds from space. So I think that's very appropriate. Let me tell you that I was invited to attend this session expecting that it would be a very serious and professional discussion with different alumni associations from different parts of the world. And it is really a surprise to me to see that someone has decided to change the agenda and send me a special message that I receive as a very strong invitation from all of you for me to remain in at least one of these alumni associations. So I got your message. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Deborah and Marta and Brian and Royce, Francois, Lynn, Jane, all of you have spoken and contributed to this wonderful surprise that I was really not expecting. And Nassim has kept the secret very well. He didn't tell me a single word about this surprise. And maybe one advantage of being online and the camera really not showing 100% of what's happening is that hopefully you didn't see my tears as you were speaking. It's really an emotional farewell, but I'll try to avoid the words farewell. Some of you might have received an invitation from me for August 31st, just the day before Pascal takes office, for a farewell event that is not called farewell. It's called Juan's A Bientôt drink. And as you know, A Bientôt means see you soon. So if any of you happens to be in the Strasbourg area, August 31st, please come for the A Bientôt. I know that one of you said that I am handing over to Pascal an ISU that is in very good shape. I would let Pascal judge on that because she's the one who is now going to walk us for the next miles. And as people say, take us to the next level. And I know that the next level will really be something you will see happening and growing and improving. I'm very happy to have had the opportunity of working in tandem with Pascal since she was appointed a few months ago. I have already shared with some colleagues that one of the rewarding experiences in my career has been to help the next person take over, whoever is the successor. And I've had this in the past several times, and it's very rewarding to see former colleagues coming back and reminding me, I still have in my memory what you did or the time you spent or the availability you showed when I was taking your succession. So Pascal, I hope you can see how warm the ISU community can be. And I know that on September 1st, we will be in your spaceship. I hope to be part of that spaceship. In fact, we just heard from a few associations, one from the United States, one from Portugal. And personally, I'm not sure to which one I will belong, probably to all of them. fact, some of you are already wearing the new ISU badge, which says just underneath the photo, it says, I am a citizen of planet Earth. And I know that there is an initiative, and maybe Nassim can tell us a bit more about it, or Graham Weaver, or others who are currently working on a global ISU association. I promised that I would be part of that. So as you know, you never retired from ISU. If you allow me to quote Jim Burke, who has been retired since I met him the first time 30 years ago. He would spend so much time and so much energy with all of us students that people would ask Jim, what is your job in real life? And Jim would say, I am retired on call. So I can follow Jim's steps and still be available. Or giving the floor to Pascal, who wants to tell us about her vision and our future. I just wanted to walk us back for a minute and look at this wonderful alumni conference that we have just lived for the past 48 hours non-stop with speakers from all over the world, tackling topics that are really of importance to planet Earth. We have heard heads of space agency, we have heard entrepreneurs, we have heard scientists tackling the most challenging topics, not only for this community, but for humanity and planet Earth. And to me, it's a great compliment here from Pascal, when a couple of weeks ago, she wrote to me and said, Juan, I think this program of the
Seems we have lost Juan for a minute, but I'm sure
I can finish the sentence because I said this program of the conference is amazing and everybody should really, join in. And obviously there were some night shifts, and there's also Olympia. So but I mean, honestly, wherever I tuned in, I have learned new things, and it was just really amazing. So that's what I told him, and we actually submitted a message to many people that they should actually tune in and listen to these interesting talks because they cover all the areas. So this is already half of my speech of which is supposed to be in 3 minutes, but yeah, that's
well, that was our destiny, Pascal. In fact, there was a network interruption exactly at the moment where Destiny wanted us to hear you. So thanks for stepping in and for being such a good improviser. Just like Ken has been an excellent improviser when the video sound did not work, but somehow he was ready to do the voiceover. Excellent jobs. I think improvisation should be one of our eyes because it's very powerful. And probably one of the best countries where we can learn this eye is obviously Italy, which also starts with an I. I know there are some senior members here from Italy, Maurizio, and also I wanted to thank Maria Perino for her message earlier on. So Pascal, let me just give you some facts and figures, because I know you are a scientist and that you want to hear facts and figures that you can also use yourself when you will now represent ISU in front of partners and sponsors and alumni. So if we look, for example, at the governing members, those who really own ISU, there are about 70 governing members now, and the group is growing. Half of them are alumni. So already there, you see that half of ISU is owned by alumni, if you allow the expression. If we look at the board of trustees who are appointed by the governing members, 10 of them are ISU alumni today. So that's quite significant, almost half of them. If we look, for example, at the locations where the SSP program is going every year, a good number of host locations chose to send a bid for SSP because there was an alum there who triggered the decisions by whoever was the decision maker. So the alumni are not necessarily always the decision makers, but they know who to talk to and they know how to present the case so that cities like Tel Aviv or Granada or Lisbon decide that they want to have the SSP program or another ISU program. It could be also the executive space. When we look at locations where the executive space course has happened, obviously Strasbourg, but also Canberra or Seattle or Tel Aviv, it is because alumni were there and they were convinced that the ISU teaching was useful in their city, in their region. If we look at the organizations who host student interns from our master program, I have not done the numbers, Pascal, but I will do them. And you will see how many of those hosts are alumni, because they know how valuable our students are and how much they can bring to their organization during their internship and eventually afterwards to hire them. If we look now back to the past 18 months, what we see is that we have close to 200 ISU persons who have never been to ISU. What I mean by that is that we have close to 200 virtual alumni who have attended a virtual program, whether it is the masters, you know, the last 2 years of the masters, they were more virtual than in person. Whether we look at the interactive space program, in the summer of 2020, we had close to 100 promising space professionals who, for the most part, have never met in person with anyone else. They were in their living room, but they share the same enthusiasm and the same energy and the same values as all the rest of us. So we are moving to the digital world, and I know that this is also close to your heart, Pascal, to take ISU further into the digital world of teaching and learning. Let me just conclude, Pascal, with alumni who have been instrumental in convincing their management that sponsoring a team project is good for their organizations. Just one example, among the latest team projects that have been sponsored, you see the European Space Agency, you see NASA, you see private companies like Paragon. In each of these cases, it was an alum who made it happen. So you see the value of the community. And if we look just a little bit ahead, if you allow me, Pascal, and I really promise I conclude here, two of the initiatives that are now launched recently. One of them is the ISU Ventures, a private company that will take equity in space startups. The person who is chairing the working group is an alumna from Canada. And if we look at the endowment fund that we hope in a few years' time will make sure that the ISU has long-term funding resources for like our universities have an endowment fund. That initiative has also been triggered and with a lot of energy and knowledge by an ISU alum. So with this, Pascal, I hope you will enjoy, like I have enjoyed following the steps of my predecessors, just to name the last two ones, Mike Simpson and Walter Peters. They have been great colleagues to me. They've provided excellent advice, and I consider them as friends. So over to you, my friend, Pascal.
Sorry, Juan and Pascal, if I may. First, let us applaud Juan. And just before, if I may, before I hand the floor to Pascal, I think Jordi would like to say just a few quick words to thank his amazing volunteers team. Jordi, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, it's been very intense weeks, and I only wanted really to thank the help and the support of everyone that made this possible. It's not only the volunteers and everyone that wanted to join this project, The first thing we did, well, actually, I just took this over like 7 or 8 weeks ago. But the first thing we did is to contact all the alumni associations worldwide, because we thought that we were virtual, so anyone could join, and that we needed to reconnect and craft these from the alumni and by alumni and for the alumni. But anyway, it's been several weeks of sleepless nights, and I would really like to thank all of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordi. Thank you. And now is the time to hear the closing words of our president-elect, Pascal Ehrenfeld. Pascal.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think this was really a nice surprise for all of us, and in particular for Juan, that in particular his class. And you really, I've looked at the pictures, you all did not change. So there was a comment in the chat. I found it really, really nice. Yeah. So I'm very grateful that I'm following and that I'm having, you know, these discussions with Juan already since several months. As you know, with COVID, every kind of educational institution is facing, you know, some challenges, and we are going through this. Juan is still here for 1 month. So I'm only saying goodbye after quite some time. So I wanna now really focus on this conference, which was a really great joy. And Juan also told me that it has evolved. You know, it was a meeting before that you spent a weekend. I have actually been at the conference in Delft, you know, at the alumni weekend. And so I think it's an enormous key advantage of ISU to have this family of, you know, more than 5,000 ISU alumni from more than 100 countries, and also that they are actually representing companies, space agencies, and startups, and everything what is important for space. And I really want to thank everybody, like Jordi, like Juan, like Nasim, everybody who was is involved, is not yet finished, in the organization of this International Space University Alumni Conference 2021. And we have to see also under the patronage of the Aerospace Corporation. And of course, that includes also all the speakers and participants. I've told you already before, I've learned a lot. Whenever I tuned in, I've heard really interesting things. And I think it's really great that this conference provides the opportunity for all of us to learn, to refresh, and to discuss recent progress of space applications, missions, and technologies, and that we have more and more to learn to do this, to participate online, and we're getting more and more used to host virtual meetings, though we would prefer to meet in person, but it seems to be something which we will have to deal with also in the future. So thank you very much for everybody. As Jordi said, there were sleepless nights, and also, you know, it was around the clock, you know, for all the time zones organized. So I think this was really, really fantastic. And I just want to say that we are just really living in an incredible time of a dynamically changing and evolving space sector that will also play an increasing role in our daily lives for all citizens. And there were so many different topics which have been addressed. You know, we've seen National Space Agency presenting their programs. We talked about the space workforce of tomorrow, Mars and Moon exploration. Really, I mean, I've seen videos, you know, from tasks on Mars from a week ago, and you cannot really get that on the web. Yeah, so this was really amazing. Security, mega constellation, space debris, AI. Robotic technology, small sats. I mean, this is really, really amazing what you put together. Access to space, climate, and I'm sure I'm forgetting many of the things, tourism. So really interesting panels, and great to see how the ISU family is actually strongly connected worldwide and can put such a program together, and that also virtually. So I just want to say a few sentences at the end about ISU and the future. So the evolving space economy, we have seen a lot of emerging space nations also, talking today, and commercial actors, a lot of entrepreneurs. We have a growing downstream sector, and all this is accompanied actually by a significant shortage in the STEM workforce. And that actually offers ISU ample opportunities. So you really have to try to convince everybody that it is a smart decision to receive a space education right now. And when we heard today, Mr. De Costa from the European Union Space Agency, when he said, well, before you actually arrive at work, you have already been in touch, with space applications, looking at the weather in your navigation system, in your car and so on. And many people actually don't know that. And I think we have really to bring space more to society. And so this is also a part of education. But I think it is really a very smart decision to refer space education right now with this enormously growing downstream sector and all these connections to the non-space sector. So, but ISU has to keep the pace and has to provide cutting edge education that really also reflects this rapid developments of the space sector, and also the increased entrepreneurship, which was so nicely really discussed during this ISU Alumni Conference. This is so great, when people which actually have got their education and then tell the others, how they actually succeeded, to create a company. And of course, also a lot of commercial opportunities. So the main pillars for the future are to establish a really global ISU brand and have a very strong cooperation between Strasbourg Central Campus, but also the North American branch, Australia, new entities in Asia Pacific regions, Africa and Latin America. So it is important really that we have to position ISU as the leading global space university. And we count on your support. So in closing, I want to thank everybody again for their contribution and participation. And I want really to say that you are an important part of the International Space University, also with the presentations we had in this hour, in this session, that you have these alumni associations. And you are really, really an important part of ISU and its future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pascal, for these nice words. Thank you. And I think we are coming to the end of this conference. And I would like to say that we have also a space masquerade coming tonight. So it's going to be time to party. So. Oh, sorry, I was mute. We have the Space Masquerade tonight. So it's not totally all finished. The Space Masquerade will be from 6:30 UTC to 8:30 UTC. So in Europe, it's we start at 8:30 CEST, if I'm not mistaken. And I think we can put the chat in the chat, the link. Here is the time, and here is the link for the event. Jordi, would you like to add anything about the masquerade or anything?
No, not at all. I think that this is more in the hands of the organization in Strasbourg and Granada. But thank you again for the opportunity of doing this project. And we suffered a bit, but we had lots of fun. So that's the important part. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I can tell you that Jordi will be sleeping at 8:30 CEST.
Yes.
So we will have to be very, very loud to keep you awake, Jordi. Let's give you and the whole team of more than 30 people I have counted, more than 30 alumni and ISU staff working for this wonderful conference. Let's make it loud. Everyone, microphone open.
Thank you, Jordi. You've done an amazing job.
Thank you.
Great work, great work, great work.
It was
All right.
all worth it.
Yeah.
So it was all worth it.
Jordi, is the Wonder platform still open for if some people want to meet up? Or?
Yes, they are open. We left it open all the time in any case, and you can join. We had a very nice session after the Rodrigo da Costa, he spoke. His assistant was there. We were not allowed, but I think it's a very good tool. Unfortunately, and we have to forgive us, we are not perfect. And I think that Pascal and the team next year, they can improve this. We need a lot of very direct communication to tell people when things are happening that they can organize to take advantage of them. We are not sequential. But if you want to join there, it's really a wonderful tool for discussing and meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. So you all have the Wonder, I think, link. You received it in the messages.
I put it on the chat.
Thank you. So let us meet there if you wish. Otherwise, I hope to see you at the online masquerade starting later tonight. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A bientôt.
Hey.
Next year in Lisbon.
E obrigado.